A very warm welcome to the Scottish National Open Championships right here in the Royal Commonwealth Pool in the capital of Scotland in Edinburgh. It is session 3, it's the first final session of the Scottish Championships and a lot of action for us to take you through tonight. Warm welcome to everyone, however you're joining us tonight. Warm welcome to those of us joining you on the BBC iPlayer as well. My name's Paul Noble. I'll be taking you through the action, and alongside me, seems to be a regular thing on the first night of competitions. It's the former Scottish record holder in the 50 metres freestyle and newly crowned British Masters champion in the 50 freestyle, Jack Thorpe. Jack.
Yeah, thank you very much. Great to be here, Paul. Yeah, I thought after 4 years of retirement, I'd get the goggles back on and give the Masters a go. And yeah, London 2 weeks past, managed to sneak my way into the wall in the splash and dash, so that was good. And yeah, great to be here for a fun afternoon, evening of racing.
Yeah, it's good to see you back in the water again, you know.
Yeah,
it's just the 50s, not the 100s this time.
Yeah, I think the 100s are a bit of a stretch, so we'll stick with the 50s for now.
Well, here's what we're going to expect tonight. The female 400 metres individual medley will kick us off. We have the B final followed by the A final, male and open 200 individual medley. Then we have the 100 freestyle for male and female. We have the breaststroke for both, backstroke for both, butterfly for both. Then we finish off with the female 1500 metres freestyle and the mixed 4x100 metres medley relay. So we'll have A and B finals for the events, with the exception of the last two, which are heat declared winners. And we'll also have some multi-classification para-finals as well for some of the events tonight, those events that are conducted in the Paralympic Games programme. So we'll bring you them as we come to them. But we start off tonight, Jack, 400 metres individual medley. And yeah, it should be an interesting one. I like the 400 IMs.
Yeah, me too. It's a nice one to ease us in, showcase all four strokes in the longest medley discipline, and the counterpart, the 200 medley, which we'll see later for the men in open. But yeah, 400 medley is some strong pedigree in Scotland with the likes of Hannah Mailey and the likes recently retired. But then again, a few of the top athletes in Scotland not here at the moment, they're racing internationally, so open opportunity here for a few of the youngsters to get some exposure and potentially get a medal.
Well, we start off with the B final of this female 400 individual medley. Abby Whitfield from Derwentside and Gateshead goes in lane number 1, closest to us as you'll be looking at the pool. Lane 1 is at the bottom of your picture, lane 8 is at the top, and the yellow marked lanes in the centre, they are 4 and 5, with 4 being the closest lane to us. So Abby Whitfield goes in 1, Rosie Forster, that red cap of Warren de Baths, goes in 2. Catherine Bodie from University of Aberdeen Performance, she'll go in lane number 3. Good start for Lily Mundell, who goes in lane number 4 from Heart of Midlothian, the 15-year-old. Next to her, 14-year-old swimmer from Geary, Ava Smith, in lane number 5. And those 3 swimmers at the top of your picture, Jessica Arundel, Bath University, Inga Eriksson from Nexus, and Chloe Brotherton from South Tyneside, right up there at the top. But Lily Mundell off to a good start, Jack, and we saw Inga Eriksson as well, right up there, the 16-year-old going well at the start in lane number 7. The team from Nexus, we think that is a team from Singapore, Nexus.
Yeah, a bit of a glide there from Lily into the wall. Again, I think she was in the lead and it was just at the end there, a bit of a glide in, but again, it's always an interesting one in the medley events. You've got the transition into the different strokes, and again, you'll see the strengths coming through. In particular here, you've got Catherine that's really stretching away from Lily there and really taking advantage of that strength in the backstroke leg. And I think we'll see, particularly when we get to the breaststroke, there can be a big change in the field, particularly those that are the strength in that stroke, because it is the slow stroke, so you can make up the most time, but equally you can lose the most time.
And of course the 400 IM is double the distance of the 200 IM, so you spend more time on that breaststroke, so get a greater advantage, don't you?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And again, still in control here, still looking like the the same, although it looks like, I think that's in lane 2, Rosie Foster there making a bit of a move. Moving up there, nice long loping stroke, looking very controlled, taking advantage. Nice distance per stroke, as we talk in swimming, you know, maximising the length of your stroke and the catch, maximising the amount of water you're pulling or pushing away. And Rosie really stretching there, but I think Catherine might still be just in the lead. We'll see as we transition across. So both the same style of flip turn there from both Catherine and Rosie. That flip over, you sometimes see the traditional touch and flip, or you sometimes see the crossover, but they're both the touch and flip technique. Again, which can save quite a considerable amount of time. But look at Catherine now, really pulling ahead. An excellent breakout and underwater there. Really streaking ahead here, Paul.
Yeah, great breaststroke here, and the swimmers all kind of queuing up behind her. We'll get an idea here how the breaststrokers are going when they hit this top end. I mean, Catherine Body is stretched away, but you'll see the split times for the previous 50 will appear on the screen as the swimmers touch the wall. So we'll see what kind of split Catherine Body has done for this 50 breaststroke. 44.92. Is she the fastest in the water? I think she is, and that's why she's kind of stretched out ahead. Ava Smith, 45.0. Abby Whitfield there in lane number 1, going really fast there. We saw this Abby Whitfield as well, was at the back of the field in the heats this morning. The Derwent side and Gateshead swimmer, and swam right through to the front of the field on the breaststroke. Just couldn't quite hold it on the freestyle, but 17-year-old Abby Whitfield, the fastest in the pool at the minute, but still a little bit behind Catherine Body as they come up to the end of this breaststroke. And again, we'll see the gap as they move on to the freestyle. But again, Jack, if you're ahead going into the breaststroke, you're going to be on freestyle and the rest are going to be on breaststroke. And that's an advantage, isn't it?
Absolutely, but what a storming leg there for Abby Whitfield, going from, I think, around 7th in the field through to 2nd, so storming through, put herself in a great position. And it's looking like Catherine is still, again, having done an excellent job holding off the majority of the field, is still streaking away in the freestyle, and it's all to play for in lane number 1 and lane number 7 for Inga Eriksson for 2nd place, closely contested by Ava Smith in lane number 5. Coming into this final 50 here, Paul. Still looking like Catherine's still holding well. Inga Eriksson again closed quite considerably there, nearly over a second closed on Catherine, so it's really going to come down to the wire.
And she's only a second behind Inga Eriksson as they go into that final 50, so it looks like it might be between these two. Inga Eriksson now moving up alongside Catherine Body. Abby Whitfield still very much in contention as well. Ava Smith from Geary in lane number 5 coming through. Lily Mundell coming back as well, but I think it's going to be Inga Eriksson in the outside lane who has swum this really well. The Nexus swimmer, we mentioned her at the start. Nexus from Singapore, 5:12.43. Catherine Body, 5:13.88. And Ava Smith did finish really fast there, 5:14.52. But, well, we almost come to expect that in the 400 IM, don't we, Jack? Different leaders at different stages in the race, but that was well paced for Inga Eriksson.
It was indeed, and it's what makes the 400 medley so exciting to see. There's not a dead certainty that you have in some of the other strokes and disciplines with different distances. The 400 in particular can be such a changing event, so it makes it a great contest. And equally towards the end of the evening, for those to stick around, we have the mixed relay medley event, so that's men and women, different strokes. Again, huge amount can go on and change, but again, before that we have the A final of the women's 400 medley.
We do. Alice Cumming we saw coming out in lane number 1. We've got Millie Searle from Geary going in lane number 2. Evie Mackey might be one that might contend for this title. Certainly Susie McNair will start as the favourite, University of Stirling. She goes in lane number 4. Anna Farrell in lane number 5 from Bath University. She should be in contention as well. Evie O'Halloran Hutchison, 4th fastest qualifier from the heats this morning. Nuala Gow from University of Aberdeen, performance in 7th. And Constance Logan completing the lineup from Crawley. Regular visitors here to Edinburgh. Team from down south, quite a number of teams here from England, certainly the northeast of England, well represented.
Yeah, it's good to see. He brings up some fresh competition, keeps the Scottish athletes on their toes, and again, it's that contest. It's again racing against people you might not necessarily race all the time, and again, it's a good challenge to the environment and elevates the level of the competition as well.
So the three favourites, I think Susie McNair, Anna Farrow and Evie Mackey, they're all in the centre lanes. Evie Mackey in 3, Susie McNair in 4, Anna Farrow in 5. They were the fastest from the heats. Had the fastest entry times as well coming in to the competition, but it was a relatively easy qualification this morning, Jack, so I expect them to go a little bit faster than the times they went. Mackey and Farrow 5:02 and Susie McNair 4:58. They've all gone significantly faster than that.
Yeah, it'd be nice to see them push each other on and really get well below that 5-minute mark into the low 450s and see where they go from there, even quicker potentially depending what form they're on. But it's looking like Susie, oh no, it's Anna Farrow leading things out, closely followed by Susie McNair, 0.3 between them. Again, utilising the walls, really taking advantage of that distance, maximising the underwater, staying as efficient as possible. The rate's still quite high, surprisingly. I would expect them to be a bit more controlled at this stage, but again, it's good to assert yourself, really set the tone of the race and get yourself really out and ahead, and that's exactly what Susie's doing. Again, she was very controlled first 15. She's almost building through there, Paul, into the second half. That was the old technique of Michael Phelps. He would build through each of the hundreds, and Susie's done a great job of that, really sort of emphasising the rate. There we start again on the backstroke leg.
Yeah, Scottish record holder is still Hannah Miley after many, many years. It just shows you the quality of the swims that Hannah Miley did back in the day. I don't think we really appreciated how long Hannah Miley's records would last for, and she's got a number of Scottish records still, hasn't she?
She does, yeah, and I think Katie Shanahan, will start to challenge them, especially in the medley events, but again, the pedigree and the standard Hannah held for so long, consistently under the 440 mark in the medley was just world class at the time. And yeah, these young athletes have got that to aspire towards, so there's big shoes to fill, but I think it's great to see that standard still holding strong. And it's Susie that is streaking away. She's had an excellent backstroke leg, really extending her lead. It's very easy to see 1, 2, 3 at the moment across the favourites that we mentioned at the beginning. Let's see how things mix up in the breaststroke.
Yeah, a little bit spread out at the moment, maybe more spread out than we thought it might be at this stage, but Susie McNair definitely dominating this one. Let's see how the breaststroke goes. As you say, Anna Farrow in second, but as you can see, she lost 2 seconds there in that last 50. So the lead is quite substantial, 5 seconds now, but Anna Farrow giving chase, as is Evie Mackey. One lane up from Farrow is Evie O'Halloran Hutchison in lane number 6, and right on the outside is Constance Logan from Crawley. Can anyone make inroads into the lead of Susie McNair from University of Stirling? It doesn't look like that in the meantime, Jack, does it? Let's have a look at the splits as they come in to this halfway stage in the breaststroke. 43.1 for Susie McNair. Anna Farrow 43.4. Evie Mackey's the one that's slightly closed up, but it's not making much of an impression on that lead.
No, there's still a good sort of 3-4 second lead that Susie has, and Evie had a really good sort of first 50 there of the breaststroke, and the rate's increasing, but it's still holding firm with Susie and Anna Farrow in particular. Anna Farrow still doing a good job to hold off the challenge of Evie in there in lane 3. And just on the shoulder of Anna Farrow, the other Evie, still staying in contention, particularly for the final leg here in the 100, but it's a clear leader at the moment as we transition into the freestyle.
Well, great performance so far from Susie McNair. Again, looking at the splits for the breaststroke, there were very few that were faster than Susie McNair on that breaststroke, and it's certainly none of the immediate chasing pack. And that's why Susie McNair is just stretching this lead with absolutely every stroke. It's around about 10 metres or so is the advantage for Susie McNair. And this is a procession in this last turn here.
It certainly is. She's going to have a phenomenal time here. It's going to be well under the the 5 minute mark. Let's see how quick she can go, if she can really kick into the legs in that final stretch. 6, 8 beat kick, she's really motoring away, but again, things are hotting up in the second place position between Evie and Anna. It's going to be really close towards the end. It's looking like Evie's just got enough on the burners here to come through into second, Paul.
Yeah, that blue cap of Evie Mackey on the right side of the picture as we're seeing it might just be in second place, but here comes Susie McNair now, and she will touch it in 4:52.34. Well done to Susie McNair. Is it going to be Evie Mackey or Anna Farrow? It's Evie Mackey. Just gets it by 12/100ths of a second. So well done, Evie Mackey. And well done, Susie McNair. Never really in doubt from very early stages, Jack.
No, I think Evie, Susie really set the tone from the beginning and built through that fly, and really it's been strength to strength thereafter. So excellent procession, as you say, and convincing win. Nice to see Evie Mackey and Anna Farrell dip under the 5 minutes, just outside for Evie O'Halloran, but great performances overall there. And nice to see them dip under that 5 minute mark.
Yeah, that's what we wanted to see. We knew they were capable of it, so here we go for the male and open multi-classification for para swimmers. So Akash Das going through, Lewis Jones, Jason van der Merwe. There's Harry Stewart. Jack Milne had a good swim in the heats this morning. Jude Gunnar from Team GB Para. Thomas Navarro Barber will be the next swimmer out. And Max Davis will complete the lineup. So the Team GB Para have got some of their athletes through. It's quite a mix of para athletes as well, kind of swimmers that are just coming through the ranks, and other swimmers who are established internationalists. Harry Stewart, for example, he was someone who went to the Paralympic Games last year, was a finalist in the breaststroke. Jack Milne is the only swimmer not in the GB Para team in this final, this para final. Of course, all different classifications for the para swimmers. Akash Das is an SM8, Lewis Jones a 9. A raft of SM14s in the middle. It's Jason van der Merwe, Harry Stewart, Jack Milne, Jude Gunnar, Thomas Navarro Barber is an SM9, and Max Davis SM8. So classifications 1 to 10, those with a physical impairment, where 1 is the most severe impairment and 10 the least. 11 to 13 are those with visual impairments, and S14 those with intellectual impairments.
Yeah, and because of that, Paul, it means that it's really both a race against the clock for the athletes individually, but also a race for points. Because there's those different classifications, it's how close they are to the world record dictates how many points they achieve. So it's not necessarily who touches the wall first that will win this race.
1,000 points or thereabouts is equivalent to a world record swim. Not sure we're going to get the points immediately for these ones, but we'll bring you them as soon as we can. I think probably the favourites for this one, maybe the swimmers in the centre lanes. Harry Stewart, very strong breaststroker. Jack Milne had a great finish to his individual medley, the University of Aberdeen performance swimmer, right in the centre. So it's the swimmers here in the SM14 classification who lead them through. I've got Thomas Navarro Barber for company. He's someone who has been a GB internationalist before at the European Championships last year. And it's the SM14s, and Harry Stewart, no surprise to see him in front of the field. Had a great games in Paris, making the final of the breaststroke, and if he's leading before the breaststroke, Jack, he's got to be in a good shape.
Yeah, he really went out with intent there in the fly leg, 28 point, and really maximised the underwaters in the backstroke as well. So it's looking like he's just going to touch ahead, and again with the strength in his breaststroke, I think we're going to see him pull away further here as we transition through and they break out. Again, excellent underwaters there for Harry Stewart, really maximising the pull out. And again, with each stroke there, Paul, you can see him really extending that lead, already 3 metres from the turn on the lane below from Jason van der Merwe. So it's, yeah, convincing so far. And again, a challenge from the lanes above. I think slightly moving forward, but I think at this point it's going to be Harry Stewart all the way.
Yeah, that's the tussle of the SM14, so it's a straight fight between the 14s at the front of the field. Two swimmers in the two inside lanes, if you like, lanes 2 and 7. They are in the SM9 class, and the two SM8s in the outside lane, Akash Dash and Max Davies. So some private battles in here, but as you said, Jack, it's all about the points totals in the end. I think Harry Stewart will be tough to beat, though, as he brings the field home in lane number 4. 2:19.67 in qualifying. He's improved that to 2:18.68. So well done to Harry Stewart. Jack Milne just touched out there by Jude Gunner at the end. And Jason van der Merwe in next. Lewis Jones is coming through in lane 2. He's going to win that tussle of the SM9s. The S9 swimmer with a physical impairment. You can see his impairment in his arm there. And Akash Das wins the tussle of the SM8s. When you see an SM prefix in front of the event, that means it's a medley event. SB means it's breaststroke, and the other events will have S classes. So we don't have the points for you at the moment, but Harry Stewart with that time of 2:18.68, I think that's going to be quite tough to beat in terms of points, although Lewis Jones might force his way onto a medal podium for that. We'll bring you them as soon as we have them, because we have 200 metres individual medley B final coming up, and we have fastest qualifier from the heats this morning, Lachlan Small from Stirling Swim. There's a line-up. Samuel Jeffrey will be closest to us. Connor Aspinall will be in lane number 2. Matthew Holland, Wolverhampton, 27-year-old, will be in lane number 3. Let's hope for you, Jack.
Noted, Paul.
Lachlan Small, 16-year-old, in lane 4. Peter McGrother from Derwentside and Gateshead in 5. Gregor Ross from City of Glasgow. He'll go in lane 6. Ian Middleton, Glenalbin, the team near Dublin. He goes in 7. And Ethan Collins from Stirling Swim in the outside lane.
A lightning start there from Matthew Holland. Really flying down this first length. Let's see where he touches. 27.2, really going out with intent there, Paul. See if we can back it up. Excellent underwaters as well, so he's again really capitalising on his strengths. And we'll see if he's put himself in a strong position for the breaststroke leg. Slightly weaker in the breaststroke, looking at the splits from earlier, but we'll see how that transitions through. It's nice to see again a few of the athletes in the younger brackets, but again Matthew Holland, the oldest in the field, most experienced. But again, it's not all done, as we know, as we've seen so far. The breaststroke and freestyle legs can really turn things around, and a bit of a challenge from the top 2 lanes, in lanes 7 and 8 from Ethan and Ian.
Yeah, pretty much of a muchness there for the leaders on the breaststroke. 34.77, 34.9, so let's see what the breaststrokers can do. And it's like a couple of strong breaststrokers there in the middle. Lachlan Small coming through, and look at this. Right up at the top as well, Ian Middleton from Glenalbin and Ethan Collins in the outside lane. They're pacing each other along very nicely right at the top there, Jack.
They are. They're going to come back in a bit of a line here by the looks of it. It's a really strong push from Lachlan and Peter in the centre, but also right up at the top there, Connor Aspinall. It is Ian Middleton just ahead, a fantastic leg there, but also Peter McGrother coming through, and it's going to be a really close contest in this final 50 in the middle lanes, Paul.
Oh, it's going to be a real cracker here. Matthew Holland still in with a chance here, but Peter McGrother in lane number 5 might just have this one, but lane 4, Lachlan Small coming back now. Is Lachlan Small going to take this one ahead of Peter McGrother and ahead of Holland? It is going to be Lachlan Small. 2:13.45, well done to him. Matthew Holland, second place as they touched the wall, and it was Peter McGrother in third place with Connor Aspinall and Ian Middleton not far away at all. But good swim from Lachlan Small. Not sure he led at all there until the very last 10 metres.
He did, and that's all that matters, Paul. I mean, we saw Matthew Holland go out with such intent in that first 50, and again, to his credit, he did drop about 2 seconds from his heat performance, but Lachlan Small timed that to perfection at the end. And now we move on to the A final of the 200 individual medley.
Yeah, and here's the first swimmer, Fraser Tetlow, University of Aberdeen performance. Big Stirling presence in this one. Pierce Greening in 2, Bath University, Hubert Granich in 3, Angus Allison from Stirling University in 4, Josh Press in lane number 5, Stirling University, James Body from Geary is in lane 6, and 2 from University of Stirling. In the outside lanes, Finlay Davis and Cameron Rapson. Finlay Davis and Cameron Rapson, they were in the same heat this morning, and they really took it easy in the closing stages and almost paid the price.
Yeah, well, they were getting awfully close there to the outside lanes, but again, you've got a lane, you've got a chance. Doesn't really matter in the grand scheme what you do in the heats. It's all about transitioning that and pulling that through into the finals, improving the skills, improving the pacing, making sure you can step up. That's always the biggest thing, is stepping up from your heat performance, putting in a strong effort, particularly in the major events, the more competitive events, internationally for example, but it's always about stepping it up in the final, because that's where it matters. It's where the medals are, it's where selections are made. I think likely favourites here will be the centre lanes, particularly Angus Allison, again on good form, likely 208 on paper. He can go much quicker than that, but again so can the rest of the field, so I think we'll see a number of athletes across the lanes drop considerably here, Paul.
Yeah, I think so. Could be an interesting one, this one. Yeah, the heats, it was a little bit cat and mouse. Most of the big names have made it through to this A final. Most of the people that we'd expected to be in have made it, but not necessarily in the lane we expected them to be in, so could be danger all over the pole here. So very even start there, like very good, very quick reaction times. James Body 0.59, that's pretty good.
That's an exceptionally quick reaction time. It's almost a backstroker reaction by the time. Again, backstroke's probably the quickest because they're the least amount of time to get off the block.
What was yours generally as a sprinter?
Around the 0.62, 0.61 most of the time. I rarely drop under, so that's impressive reaction. It's Josh Press coming through, just dipping under the previous heat. We saw 27.2, so there's 27 lows across the piece here. Again, showing the calibre and the step up from that B to A final.
Finlay Davis going well at the top, that long rangy backstroke up there in lane number 7. Looks like he might be hitting the front. Cameron Rapson close behind him as well. Swimmers in the middle, all kind of queuing up there. Josh Press, Angus Allison, right there in the mix. It's going to be 3 or 4 swimmers nearly together here. Very tight indeed. But Finlay Davis looked like he swam a good breaststroke in the heats this morning. It was a freestyle he really eased back on, and he's looking good in the early stages here, Jack. But the swimmers in the middle, they're pushing on as well.
Yeah, we'll expect to see Angus Allison come through here, breaststroke being his strength, and that's exactly what he's doing. Stretching ahead, nice long stroke, really maximising the glide phase, the fastest phase of the breaststroke, the least resistance. And again, you can see he's really pushing, but he's not got it all his way. There's definitely a strong challenge from Finlay Davies and Cameron Rapson from the top there. And it is Cameron Rapson that just touches out Finlay Davies, but Angus Allison still has his way of it, a 36.6 split. He's looking really strong, Paul, in this final 25 metres.
Well, Angus Allison looking like the favourite now. Davis and Rapson having that head-to-head right at the top there. Josh Press is there in lane 5, but I don't think anyone is going to beat Angus Allison. All to play for the minor medals, but Angus Allison, it's very close at the top there, but it is. Rapson takes it. Wow. I didn't expect that one, and it is Cameron Rapson from lane 8 has taken it in 2:06.24. I thought Allison had it at the end, but Cameron Rapson just scraped into this final. I knew he would go faster, but he's won it.
What a finish that was, the fastest in the field. That was a 29.6 final 50. He was a 2:14 this morning, a casual 8-second drop.
Well, If you'd have seen his heat this morning, it was very casual in the heats. And Finlay Davis, unfortunately, was disqualified. So he would have been right there in the middle positions as well.
He would have. Likely a turn infringement can quite often be the case. Split hands or potentially going too far underwater, but it's likely a turn infringement around the hands there, unfortunately.
Yeah, there's a lot that can go wrong in an IM.
Unfortunately, yes. But that's the nature of it, Paul.
100 freestyles is your territory now. Jack Ella Litton-Jones coming out for the para-final. Brooklyn Hale, young 15-year-old. Grace Robinson will go in lane 3. Faye Rogers, probably start as one of the favourites. She will go in lane number 4. Olivia Newman-Baronius in 5. Abby Kane from the University of Stirling, she will go in 6. Isabella Haynes will go in lane number 7. And Iona Winifrith will complete the lineup in lane number 8. 2 lengths of the pool. And we have, well, Faye Rogers, Olivia Newman-Baronius and Iona Winifrith. They were all in the GB team in Paris last year. Abby Kane is also a Paralympian as well in the past from Rio in 2016. It's a real youngster, Abby Kane. She's only 22 now, so.
Yeah, plenty in sprinting terms. You can have plenty ahead of you. You see some athletes well into their late 20s, early 30s, so all to play for in the blue ribbon event. I know I'm biased, Paul, but it is officially the blue ribbon, and it was one of my main events. So here we are, the 2 lengths of the pool. It's always interesting to see the different approaches. You know, do you really set out with intent, get ahead of the field in the first 50, or do you really back up the second half of the race and try and close in that final 15? So it'll be interesting to see how the athletes break down this race tactically.
Again, a number of classifications in this one. Faye Rogers in lane number 4 is in the S10 class. So a swimmer with a physical impairment, the most minimal impairment in the Paralympic swimming programme, is Faye Rogers, and she was an Olympic hopeful. She went to the Olympic trials for Tokyo in 2021. Had an accident, car accident, a couple of months after that. She moved into para-swimming, and she's never really looked back. World champion 23, Paralympic champion in 2024 in the 100 butterfly. She set a new British record in this event at the British Trials earlier this year.
Yeah, it'd be great to see if she can challenge that. Again, looking at good form here in the middle 2 lanes. It's Faye Rogers and Olivia Newman. Again, looking strong in these final legs, but again, we don't know. The points will tell the true winners of these races, again, depending on the classifications, but we close in and see what the times are at, Paul.
Well, let's see if Faye Rogers can get under that 1:01.00, and she is inside that 1 minute .90, and I think that's a British record for Faye Rogers, continuing her record-breaking form that she has been in this year. Fantastic stuff there from Faye Rogers. Just have a quick rundown of that. Olivia Newman-Baronius, the S14, was ahead of Faye Rogers to the wall. Different classifications, of course. And there we have it, 1 minute .4 for Olivia Newman-Baronius. Faye Rogers, new British record for the S10 classification. So well done to Faye Rogers. And we didn't get much time to talk about the other ones.
No, we didn't. It goes so quickly, Paul, doesn't it?
Does. And there we are, the B final now of the 100 free, female 100 free. Kiana Kurtz from Warren de Bass in 1. Emily Maxwell from Derwentsside and Gateshead in 2. Josephine Klein, Paige van der Westhuizen and Melissa Turnbull, all University of Stirling. They go in 3, 4 and 5. Zara Kravich from East Lothian in 6. Maria Mischenko, University of Aberdeen Performance in 7. And Mary Craig from Edinburgh University in lane number 8. Big presence here, Jack, from University of Stirling in the middle lanes. Real strong programme.
Yeah, they've come out representing strongly as usual, as expected. It probably will come from a centre lane. We have Paige this morning on a 58.0, but good to see if you can challenge that barrier. It's always nice to break through into those different second markers, and it was quite hard to tell in the first opening 50s of the 100 freestyle at times. A bit of a line, much less of a change than you might see in the medley events we saw at the beginning, but it's looking like it's up in lane number 7. It is indeed. Mary coming through in a 27.8, closely followed by Paige in a 27.9. So again, it's the middle lane, and Paige had an excellent turn there, Paul, coming off the wall.
Yeah, she only missed the A final by 1/100th of a second, Paige van der Westhuizen. So she's looking to make amends and try to dip under that 58-second mark. Here she comes in lane number 4, Mischenko also right there as well. It's very close indeed at the end, and it is Paige van der Westhuizen. And a number of swimmers under the 58-second mark. That was a fast B final. Look at that. Van der Westhuizen, Mischenko, Maxwell, Turnbull, and Kravich all making improvements from the times they did this morning.
Yeah, I think a few of the athletes in the A final raise an eyebrow there. There's a 58 in the A final, a few 57s in the outside lanes. So yeah, excellent drop from all the athletes, all the women there across the field. It was a fantastic performance. Big drops, what we like to see from the heats to final.
And here is the A final. It's a smiling Maisie Guilford from Bath University next to her teammate, Jess Bodger. Kira Slauson, the first race in a busy night for her. In lane 3, Holly Widows goes in 4 from Mount Kelly. Drew McKenzie had an excellent swim in the heats this morning. She goes in lane 5. Jemima Hall, Bath University, in 6. Catherine Renfrew goes in 7. Perth City and Edinburgh University goes in lane number 8 with Katie Goodburn. Well, Drew McKenzie and Holly Widows qualified in the centre lanes. Jack Edinburgh University's Drew McKenzie. Good swim from her. 56.62 looked really strong. Holly Widows, it was the fastest. 56.38. They were in different heats this morning. Side by side again tonight.
Yeah, I think again on paper, looking at entry times, a few of the athletes could challenge that 55 mark, depending what form they're on, where they're at in their cycles. Again, summer competitions being focused events, so it'll be great to see if some of the athletes can really get down to that 56 lower into the 55s.
So 3 from Bath University, 3 from Edinburgh University, 1 from Mount Kelly, and 1 from Perth City. Catherine Renfrew with that red cap right up there in lane number 7. And just behind at the moment from Katie Goodburn, I think off to a good start there, right in the outside lane at the top there.
Yeah, Katie a great starter, but equally so was Holly Widows. Excellent off the blocking, so a really great transition from that fly kick into the freestyle. I think it's going to be lane 5. No, not quite. Again, it's Holly Widows in 4 and Drew McKenzie in 5. A 100th between them there, Paul. That was extremely tight around the wall. It's all to play for still, but it's looking like, I think it's Drew McKenzie powering through into this final 25 now.
Yeah, looks like Drew McKenzie might just have the edge now. Holly Widows trying to come back now. Jemima Hall as well, 1 lane up. And it's going to be very close, all going to be in the touch here. 4 swimmers all in together, and a great finish from Holly Widows. Well, where did she find that last 5 metres? It was head down, and a perfect finish there for Holly Widows to take that one in 56.28. Well, you know what? I thought that Drew McKenzie had that, and she finished 4th in the end. Kira Slauson coming through, Jemima Hall coming through. Great finish from Holly Widows. What a finish.
Yeah, again, it's what we said at the beginning. You see the different approaches to it. You saw Drew McKenzie go out very strong, as did Holly, but Holly held on. That was the main difference, you know, and 200 fly swimmer from Kira Slauson. Not surprised to see that endurance coming through, but I think that's a great tell for her with the 200 fly later on.
Yeah, absolutely. Kira Slauson just behind the winner there. Great swim from Holly Widows as we're quickly on to the next para-final. There's no rest, is there, tonight?
Barely enough time to catch your breath, Paul.
Max Davies, we saw going through. Thomas Navarro-Barber, Rowan Brennan, Louis Lawler. There's Jason van der Merwe. Rhea Rogers with that orange cap of Basildon. Bjorn Owen, the youngster from South Lanarkshire. And Sam Downey British internationalist, a medalist at the World Championships in 2023 in backstroke. Louis Lawler in that centre lane, twice a Paralympian, Paralympic Games in Tokyo in 2021 and again in Paris last year. And he's got a number of youngsters here. It's quite a young field, this one. There's only, well, there's a few teenagers in this one, a couple in their early 20s. Louis Lawler, the oldest, at 23.
Yeah, again in the freestyle events, a bit unusual, but again it's great to see. Good to see the depth of the fields coming through with the youngsters, and they're looking to Louis here to push themselves on. Louis was a 56.0 this morning. It'd be nice to see him try and dip under again. Again, more than capable. It just depends on the stage and the training, etc. As we spoke about earlier. And it can be quite hard to tell from heat performances truly where someone is at, because there can be quite a lot of tactics going on and a bit of controlled pacing. So yeah, we'll see what the athletes have in the tank this evening.
Oh, final stage of qualifying for the Para World Swimming Championships for the GB team is in towards the end of July, so around about a month out or so. So again, difficult to tell where swimmers are going to be at this stage with a month to go to your focus competition.
Yeah, likely in hard training, but at the same time it's nice to be able to put in a performance to give you that confidence, you know, to sort of just test things out, test out different tactics, and again build that through and towards the sort of tapered, focused meets. But it's a great start there from Louis in the centre. Let's see where his split is as he comes into the first 50. 26.6. So again, he's put him in a great place there to dip well into the 55s on paper here, so he can hold his stroke and keep control, which looks like he is.
Yeah, well done, Louis, in that early stages here. Can he follow this one up? Can he hold on? He wasn't too happy with these swims. He was talking to us after he got out of the water a little bit earlier on. Let's hope he can make a little bit of an improvement tonight. Here's Louis Lawler, 56.0, yeah, 55.18, but a little bit more happy with that one. Rhea Rogers in 56.29 and Rowan Brennan, the S10 swimmer with a physical impairment, in amongst all of the S14s. And a good swim from Rowan Brennan there for third place, 56.99. He's improved that entry time as well. So Louis from City of Glasgow, I think he'll be a little bit happier with that.
Yeah, I mean, he did. It was quite a high rate in that first 50 there, and you could just see him paying for it in those final 20 metres from the rate that he had at the start of the race. But I think he held on fairly well, and again, big improvement from this morning, and again, a really great start as well. So plenty of positives there.
Kind of made his name as a backstroker, Louis Lawler, but the
good transfer in the backstroke with the underwaters, and again, very similar stroke patterns. So you can quite often see backstrokers and freestylers transitioning. Again, just because of the similar skills and sort of biomechanics of the stroke.
It's probably, but Louis Lawler's class, the S14 class, is probably one of the big opportunities, and it might be very similar to the 200 freestyle guys like Sir Duncan Scott, James Guy, etc., Matt Richards, because the relay team for Great Britain is hugely successful. So if you can get in amongst that relay squad, you're there. Looks like a spare lane here in this one.
Yeah, lane 2, I think, is a no-show. That'd be Matthew Baker, but the rest of the field present and correct.
Yeah, Norris closest to us, Jensen Norris, Brodie Gordon-Gibson, Jamie Robertson, Harry Robinson, Henry Baker, Logan van der Meulen, and Callum Peebles. That is your lineup for this one. This is the B final of this 100 free male and open. Jamie Robertson and Harry Robinson really close there. Look at that, how close it was, the first 3 places.
Yeah, literally between 1/10 and 3/10 to 4th. So again, really coming in a line here, but it is looking like the Edinburgh University swimmer in lane 3, Brodie Gordon-Gibson's putting himself in good contention here. Bit of a challenge in the final stretch from Jamie Robertson. Wait and see the camera angle change. It's going to be really close on the wall here. Oh, just Jamie Robertson in the touch by 5/100ths.
Takes it 5/100ths away.
An excellent challenge at the end. I thought Brodie Gordon-Gibson might have had it, but camera angle might have been a bit deceiving. He had a really good underwater. But yeah, Jamie Robertson coming through in the end there.
Yeah, Brodie Gordon-Gibson had a good butterfly, 200 butterfly a little bit earlier. I'm not sure you're going to swim that one a little bit later on. But here is the A final. Stefan Kravic will lead them through. Leon Molam from University of Stirling goes in lane number 2. Rory McKinnon, City of Glasgow, in 3. Arvind Chahal might be the favourite for this one, 50.82. He goes in lane number 4. Finley Club, Edinburgh University, in lane 5. Aaron Oakers, University of Stirling, going lane number 6. Aidan Kay from City of Glasgow in 7. And Josh Denham from University of Stirling in lane number 8.
One athlete in the field this morning dipping under. Arvin with a 50.8. Again, I would like to see a few other athletes challenge that and really dip under. Finley Club, definitely capable. I mean, the whole field is really, I think, capable of pushing down to the 51 lows into the 50 points. So again, I think we're going to see quite a line here coming into the first 50. So again, we'll see what we have in the tank. But again, it'd be nice to see a few 50 points, Paul.
Yeah, most of the swimmers here were entered on that 50 point, so just got to try and reproduce that form here in the final. As you said, Jack, it's when it matters, isn't it?
Exactly. Again, I think a few of the athletes will have been holding back a bit. Again, knowing that they're wanting to just reserve as much energy as possible. So we might see a few significant drops. Again, look at the start sheet here. There's a few 51 mids. I think again we'll see a few good 0.6, 0.7 drops from some of the lanes.
So, Arvind Chahal in lane number 4, Finley Club in lane number 5. They were the fastest 2. Around about 3/10 faster than anyone else in the field. Can they reproduce that in the final? I think this is going to be a close one. I think Chahal in that bottom of those 2 yellow marked lanes, and Finley Club in lane number 5. But, well, they're all in a row at the moment, Jack.
Yeah, as we kind of expected, I think. Well, I think there will be an elevation from everyone here, so I suspect it will be a fairly considerably quicker split for the majority of the field. It's looking like lane 2 potentially, actually. It is indeed. Leon, a 24.45. It's joint first to the wall, but we'll see how things play out in the second half in particular. Great turns there from the centre lanes of Finley and Chahal. We'll see how they come in at the wall here, Paul. It's looking like it's going to be a really close finish.
Yeah, Finley Club maybe taking up the running here as he just got the edge over Arvind Chahal. It is going to be Chahal coming back now in the closing stages. A real good finish there for Arvind Chahal. 50.60. Finley Club, the only other person into the 50-second range. He will be in second place. Aaron Oakers just getting ahead of Stefan Kravic. 51.25 to 51.28.
Yeah, good swim there from Stefan in the outside lane. I think I'll be pleased with that drop just outside the medals. But again, it's nice to see a good couple of athletes in the 50 points and some drops across the board. So yeah, I think they'll be pleased with that performance.
Yeah, it's a shame we didn't get more into the 50 range.
Yeah,
but, this time of the season again, it's difficult, isn't it?
It is. I mean, the Scottish 100 freestyle has gone through a bit of a transition again. Thinking back to when I was racing. You know, we were sort of 49s and 48s. That was just the calibre of the team at the time, and we still hold that Scottish record from the Commonwealth Games in 2018. So, you know, without Duncan Scott here, who's still racing, again, if he was present, you know, there'd been a different sort of final, I think. I think it would have been a bit of a procession, so to speak. But again, it's still good to see some solid performances coming through, and all to play for with Commonwealth Games next year. There's relay events, there's mixed relays, so again, we'll see how the athletes progress. A lot can happen in 12 months.
Well, got a little bit of chance to draw breath because we have some medal presentations now. So medal presentations for the 400 IM for the female, and also for the male and open 200 metres individual medley. There's our first set of medalists. Derek McGowan making these presentations, or due to make the presentations. Oh, here he comes. You can see him just in front of us. Again, 400 IM. Again, it was pretty convincing victory there. Anna Farrow taking the bronze medal. That was a close contest. with Evie Mackey. Just got in ahead. And there, the winner, Susie McNair. Well, great performance from Susie, wasn't it?
Oh, it was. Again, a really big drop. Sort of, what was it, 4:52 in the end. It was an excellent performance. But I think all the athletes will be really pleased with the drops they made. Again, it's a hard day, Paul, to do 2 400 IMs. It takes a lot to get your recovery right, to get your prep right. So I think overall, really nice to see in Susie McNair, named for the future potentially. We spoke about Hannah Miley earlier, and again, it's great to see that female pedigree still coming through and stepping up into what is a
Evie Mackey was the junior champion as well, just say. She got that presentation. Here's the para final. Again, done on points, but it does look like it's all the S14 swimmers as we thought it might have been. Jack Milne swam really well in the heats this morning. He was pretty consistent, had a good final swim tonight. Jude Gunner, an up and coming star in the S14 class, well, star in the making, just 16 years of age. And the man who represented Great Britain in Paris last year, Harry Stewart, will claim the para gold medal.
Yeah, strong performance there from Harry. It was again, from the start, we really set the tone and it was all said and done. But I think good performance across the board. Again, like we said, where they're at in the season, I think the athletes will be pleased with how things are going.
See the medal podium there? Yeah, Commonwealth Games medal podium, I think that is.
It is indeed, you're right.
Must have been from the diving. They had the diving here, didn't they, in 2014?
They did, yeah, because again, there was no diving pit in Glasgow. So the aquatic events were split across 2 cities. I was fortunate.
200 metres individual medley. And that was a shock win from the outside lane. Well, a little bit of a shock win just to win it from lane 8. But we knew that he was always there or thereabouts. Cameron Rapson.
He timed it perfectly. Again, it's that final stroke, that's what matters. And again, did a great job of pacing that race. So hats off.
So that's your medalist for the 200 metres individual medley.
That's now the end of the presentations, and we now move back to the racing, where we have the female 100-metre breaststroke up next. So we have a para event first, followed by the B and A final.
There's Isabella Haynes leading them out. It's an SB event, this one, just signifying it's a breaststroke event for these multi-class swimmers. Isabella Haynes in the SB8 class, Grace Robertson SB14. There's Bethany Firth. Well, what a career she has had. Bethany Firth, what a career Louise Fiddis has had. She is the reigning Paralympic champion in this event, so will be one of the favourites. Olivia Newman-Baronius back in the water again. Sienna Oxby, she is going in lane number 6. Iona Winifred was a silver medalist at the Paralympic Games at age 13, and she is looking to try and go faster than her own British record. Iona Winifred. And Laura Pilkington, the swimmer with the highest level of impairment in this field, she is going in lane number 8. She's a Scottish record holder, so watch out for the time for Laura Pilkington. She'll be behind the rest of the field. She has the lowest numerical class, so she's got the slowest target time. Again, it's all on points. So Louise Fiddis in lane number 4. What a swim she had in Paris to take gold in the SB14. One of my favourite races, actually. She was in one in the outside lane in Paris, and she managed to come through. But Bethany Firth, well, one of Britain's most decorated Paralympic swimmers of all time. She first won gold at the Paralympic Games when she represented Ireland in 2012. And she went on to be Britain's most successful Paralympian, I think. 3 golds in Rio in 2016 and 2 golds in Tokyo. She missed the Paris Games because she was having a baby. And she's back in the water now.
That's fair enough.
Having a baby last August, back in again.
it just shows the calibre of the athlete, and again, so much experience from Bethany. Again, good experience in lane 4 as well, and Laura in lane 8, like we said at the beginning. Again, it'll be a mixed bag here, points-wise, again with a bit more of a variety of classifications compared to some of the events we've seen thus far. We've got 14s, 8, 7 and 5 respectively, so again a much more of a spread across this, but it is, as expected, the S14s, SB14s in the centre lanes that are leading the way.
Yeah, lots to look out for here in this 100 breaststroke right across the classes. Louise Firth and Bethany Firth, they have been coming against each other quite often in the past. They've been teammates for about a decade or so now, and Louise Firth, fantastic victory in Paris last year. Olivia Newman-Baroni is not too far behind. Keep an eye on Iona Winifred just going over now. She's a British record holder in the SB7 class, swimmer of short stature right there at the top. And the swimmers in the centre, Bethany Firth, the experienced campaigner, Louise Firth. Well, we've seen this a few times in the past, them going head to head on the breaststroke. And Louise Firth now trying to hold off the challenge of Bethany Firth. Great swim from both of these swimmers. And into the wall now, it's going to be Louise just in ahead of Bethany Firth, 1:15.96. Let's have a look now at Iona Winifred. Can she get inside that British record of 1:29 and 1:28.87 for Iona Winifred? Just 14 years of age, and I think that's inside the British record for Iona. So well done to her. And one swimmer to finish is Laura Pilkington. 2:05.79 is her Scottish record, Jack. And swimming on her own there, right on the top. Let's hope her teammates can encourage her there. She's right in front of the teams. And she just comes in under the flags. 2:05.79 is Laura's Scottish record. She'll be hoping to go a little bit faster than the 2:11 she went in the heats this morning. And 2:14 for Laura. Couldn't quite reproduce the form that she showed earlier. But a good swim at the front of the field. Louise Firth, Bethany Firth, and Iona Winifred inside the British record for her classification, with Laura Pilkington just outside the Scottish record for hers.
I think it was good to see a few drops there, particularly in the centre lanes, and Bethany, for example, dropping a couple seconds.
Yeah, Susie McNair in the centre lane for this B final. Back in again.
Yeah, again, we'll see that as we move through. There'll be another few names that will crop up that have been in earlier on. Again, we hope the athletes have had enough time to swim down. Again, we only just saw Susie in the podium not long ago.
Straight in to the call room. Maya Rogers, Warren Baths, Millie Searle from Geary, Nuala Gow, University of Aberdeen performance, Susie McNair in the centre, just missed out on that A final. Perry Scobie in 5, Amy McLeod in 6, Gabriella Winter in 7, and Julia Salat in lane number 8. So, well, what's Susie McNair got left in the tank, Jack?
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, sometimes having an event before can actually be quite a good primer. You know, you get the racing in mind, and you get the body moving, get the lactic acid up a little bit. So, you know, it can very much be an advantage if you get your recovery turnaround right. So we'll see what she's got, but it's Amy McLeod at the moment coming out fresh, lane 6, 34.6. So it's a nice split there. But again, look at the centre lane. Susie's had an excellent underwater there in her turn, great transition. So, and I think it is Susie coming back again. We saw her do it in the medley events, building through, and it's looking like she's doing the exact same, but it's going to be a bit of a challenge here from lane 5 as well.
Yeah, Perry Scobie just on the shoulder now of McNair, but Susie McNair trying to win another one here on this first night of finals at the Scottish National Open Championship, and I think she's going to do it here in the B final this time, of course, but it is 1:13.56 for Susie McNair. Another drop from the time that she did in the heats this morning. Perry Scobie pushed her all the way, and Nuala Gow came through strongly as well.
Yeah, nearly a second drop there from Susie, so Brilliant performance, and again a very hard double, 400 medley straight into the 100 breaststroke about 20 minutes later. So yeah, excellent. I think again great to test the systems and this sort of environment, have that multi-race strategy, and again learn what's working, what's not. So put it together well there as we move on to the A final.
Well, Emily Morgan-Hughes leads them out from Bath University. Emily McGee is from Dundee City Aquatic. There are 3 from Edinburgh University here: Hannah Bowley, Cara Hanlon and Anna Morgan. Charlotte Hardy will go for South Ayrshire in 6. Cora Lanham from Bath University in 7. And Anna Finlay from Derwentside and Gateshead. She will go in lane number 8.
Yeah, I've been looking forward to this one, Paul, to see what Cara's got in the tank. She's unfortunate, I think, to miss out in the World Championships. She's actually focusing on the Island Games as her main event this year, back to her roots, which will be nice to see. That's out in Orkney, and speaking to her there earlier in the month, and I think she's looking forward to, just as I say, going back to her home racing environment in the Island Games. So, but again, I think we'll see a bit of a drop here. She was a 108 this morning, 108.6. Again, I think she's, depending where she's at in the cycle, it'd be great to see a 108 lower, 107. And again, don't discredit Anna Morgan as well. Again, we've seen great form in the last 12 months, been on PB form, and again, a relaxed heat. So I would expect to see the 2 centre lanes of Cara and Anna really challenge those heat swims.
We saw Anna Morgan swim the freestyle as well this morning. She's back to her bread and butter, the breaststroke. She's in lane 5 next to Cara Hanlon. Will be the favourite, lane number 4, Cara Hanlon. Again, has had a great record over this 100 breaststroke in recent years, second in the British Championships earlier this year. Cara in the bottom of those 2 yellow marked lanes, Anna Morgan in the furthest away one, and it's very close between the 2.
Yeah, as we suspected, it is Cara and Anna. Anna had a great start, but again, Cara's really motoring through. We'll see where they're at in the wall and see how the turns go. 31s, it's very, very quick, Paul. So I think they're on great form here to really challenge the 6 to 8 lows. Good turn there from Cara. Anna's looking like a longer stroke, again picking up the rate here, so I think it's going to be a nice challenge into the last 25, but it's still looking like Cara streaking away. Increased her rate slightly there. You can see really driving through the legs.
Yeah, looking really good, Cara Hanlon. Anna Morgan doesn't really have an answer to the power of Cara Hanlon here. Let's see what kind of time that Cara Hanlon can go. It's going to be 106.95 for Cara Hanlon. Well, it's not too far away from her entry time of 106.90. Anna Morgan in second position. In third place was Hannah Bowley. So Edinburgh University 1, 2 and 3. It's a clean sweep.
106.95 is incredibly quick from Cara. I think, where did that? Her second half there was phenomenal. The 75 to the 100 metres there. She was just streaking away. Incredibly powerful. So that's, great form. It'd be great to see where she's got with the rest of the summer.
Well done, Cara Hanlon. Incredibly quick swim there. So go on to the breaststroke, 100 breaststroke for men, multi-class swimmers coming out. Oliver Hewitt, Ollie Carter, Jack Milne back in the water again, Jude Gunner back in the water again. Jason van der Merwe, another race for him. And also Lewis Jones as well in lane number 7. So we have 3 swimmers in the middle lanes, 4, 5 and 6 in the SB14 class. The other swimmers with physical impairments, Lewis Jones in SB8 and Oliver Hewitt and Oliver Carter going in 2 and 3 there in the SB9. Ollie Carter had a good swim this morning. See him back in the water again. He was a Commonwealth Games representative for Scotland in Birmingham in 2022. He was World Championship swimmer for the GB team as well. He went to Thailand, his mum was telling me, to do some teaching.
Oh, well, he's
back in the water again.
Again, great to see. Just shows the the sort of the styles of training now and the styles of racing, you can definitely accommodate more of a balance. In particular, I think being able to do, you know, take a bit of time out and get back in doesn't mean necessarily you're going to lose out massively on where you've been. So it's nice to get that balance and nice to see athletes doing that. So yeah, great to see he's one of the more experienced athletes in the field. As you mentioned, the Commonwealth Games 2022. And a couple of youngsters here as well. From Oliver Hewitt, 16-year-old from Warner Baths, as well as Jason van der Merwe, 17-year-old.
Yeah, he's very much a rising star, Jason van der Merwe. So it'll be interesting to see what he does in lane number 6. But Ollie Hewitt, don't know too much about. Swimmer with that red cap from Warner Baths. He's one of the youngest in the field, just 16 years of age, so we'll see how he goes in this one. Jack Milne going well in lane number 4 in the early stages. And again, swimmer from University of Aberdeen Performance. He was based in Dundee before, many years ago. But he's still very much in great form, Jack Milne. He's been around for a long time now, probably the best part of a decade, Jack Milne. And he's moved to University of Aberdeen Performance, and it seemed to have extended his life in the pool. And he went a fantastic 200 IM this morning, and a great breaststroke as well. And this could be a winning time for Jack Milne. It's all about the points, of course, not necessarily those who touch the wall first who are going to win. But Jack Milne in the SB14 class, giving himself a great chance to win this one in terms of points. Next to him, either side, is Jude Gunner in lane 5, and Ollie Carter going really well in lane number 3. But here is Jack Milne with that heat time of 1:11.94, just about the same time for Jack Milne. Jude Gunner 1:17, and Ollie Carter under the 1:20. Well done, Ollie Carter.
Yeah, great shift there in the end. Did well on his pacing, come through. I think he'll be pleased with that. Jack Milne maybe a little bit disappointed to be a bit slower, but I think very solid performance. You know, really replicated a fast heat, backed it up.
And there's the times. Jack Milne, Jude Gunner and Ollie Carter, they are first to the wall. Wonder what that will mean in points. We haven't been getting the points up, actually. We normally get informed about the points, but maybe we'll get that when it comes to the medal presentations. There are the swimmers for the B final. Again, quick fire these races, aren't they? Jack Mitchell, Callum Aitchison from University of Aberdeen Performance, Johnny Martin from Perth City, Scott McDougall, the 31-year-old from City of Glasgow in the middle lane, Matthew Garrity, Inverclyde in 5, Ben Rogers, University of Aberdeen Performance in 6, Robson Miles in 7 from City of Glasgow, and Harry Stewart back in the water again, a para swimmer, going in lane number 8. Saw Harry Stewart take gold in the 200 IM a little bit earlier, and this is the event where he made the final in Paris at the Paralympic Games. He goes in lane number 8, entry time 1:07.64. British record in the S14 class, in the SB14 class, held by Scott Quinn.
Oh, Scott Quinn again, pedigree of an athlete, again a great breaststroke presence, a great role model. So again, I think Harry will be looking up to Scott, see if he can get down there and challenge his 1:07.6. But we look quite to the centre of the pool now. I think it's going to be Scott McDougall. Oh, not quite. It's Matthew Garrity with 30.7. Nice to get under that 31 mark. So again, looking like a 1:06 pace at the moment. See if we can challenge into that low 1:06s, potential 1:05 here.
Yeah, Garrity looking good in lane number 5. Scott McDougall had an excellent swim. 31-year-old in lane number 4 from City of Glasgow, 1:06.04. Can he replicate that in the final? Look how close it is for second. No doubt that Garrity's going to take this one. He does take it in 1:04.98, and everybody coming in together. Johnny Martin getting the touch there, just ahead of Callum Aitchison, and Harry Stewart in 4th place But it was mighty close, wasn't it? Half a second almost separating 7 swimmers.
Yeah, I mean, again, right in a line there. But no, Matthew Garty did a great job off that wall. He just absolutely flew. Went from really paced it well. So I think he'd be pleased to dip under the 65 as we move on to the Open A final.
Well, not much to choose between anyone in terms of qualification from the heats here. Andrew Arthur goes out first from University of Aberdeen Performance. Donald Bissett, we saw him go through University of Stirling. Archie Goodburn, Edinburgh University in lane 3. Christian Ryan, Bath University in 4. Rafe Dobson, University of Stirling in 5. Joshua Mitchell from Edinburgh University in 6. We have William Godsill from Bath University going in lane number 7. And Callum Melville, the final swimmer, will go in lane number 8. So, again, what to look out for. Archie Goodburn in there, lane number 3, was really fantastic in the last 50, but just took it out very, very slow and powered his way through in the last 50. And of course, a lot of publicity and attention on Archie
especially
in recent weeks.
Yeah, the BBC interview recently, and again, just the raw emotion, and again, an absolute inspiration to Scottish and British sport, what he's going through and the message he's portraying, and the support for people like himself and others, and again, testament to his tenacity to be able to keep pushing through and keep performing. Again, more than capable of dropping multiple seconds here, and depending on his form. So great to see Archie really push himself here.
Yeah, as you said, Jack, very emotional interview from Archie, so it's great to see him right there in the mix, and you know, might actually be one of the favourites to take this one, but it's a strong field in this one. Rafe Dobson in 5 and Christian Ryan in 4 might have something to say in terms of who's going to take this one, but Goodburn off to a great start.
Yeah, Goodburn more than capable of a very fast time. I think 60.00 potentially his personal best. So again, huge amount potentially to drop. He's a bit of a speed merchant by nature. The first 50 usually his strength. And as you say, this morning kind of did the backwards of that. So again, I think it'd be great to see him challenge. I don't think he's on 60-point form, but I think it'd be great to drop into the 62s or 61. He's looking strong in control here. Still in control, good glide phase. So again, bit of a challenge coming through from the centre lanes.
Yeah, it's Rafe Dobson in 5, Joshua Mitchell in 6, but it's still Archie Goodburn now. Christian Ryan in lane number 4. They're all queuing up again behind Archie Goodburn, but I don't think they are going to catch him. Archie Goodburn now is going to hold on. He is going to take this one in front of 4 swimmers all in a row. But there is Archie Goodburn. It was a convincing victory in the end. 102.42 for Archie Goodburn. Rafe Dobson in second, 2 100s ahead of Joshua Mitchell, who was only 13 100s ahead of Christian Ryan, and Godsill not far behind as well. But what a great swim. Archie Goodburn again dominated from the front there, and he'll be the Scottish champion.
Yeah, I think he'll be pleased with that from his relaxed run this morning. So again, depending where he is in the cycle and his main focused meet for the summer. So again, pretty solid performance. I think they're a good drop, good on the skills, looked really controlled. So yeah, great to see over the piece, and like we say, very emotional time for him. So again, backing that up with a Scottish champion, you can't really ask for much more.
Yeah, anyone who's not seen that interview should actually go and look at it.
Absolutely,
on the BBC website. Yeah, fantastic interview from Archie Goodburn. So check them out. So, medal presentations on their way. Helen Murray due to make the presentations tonight. And the presentations for the breaststroke events.
And for those unaware, Helen Murray, utterly synonymous with Scottish swimming.
I was trying to figure out how I would describe Helen Murray.
Just think of swimming, you think Helen Murray, omnipresent over the last
absolutely
how many decades?
Oh,
dare
goodness.
I say.
Well, I mean, she was telling us stories the last championships, I think last year or the year before. about, I can't remember what it was now, gate crashing some sort of procession for the King of Norway in Edinburgh in the 60s. And she was still swimming then. But yeah.
Again, it's just that what she's done for the sport, and particularly, you know, the Edinburgh International and Scottish sport across the piece is just phenomenal. So I think we are waiting for the athletes, I believe, to arrive.
Helen's there, she's just walking out. And yeah, it's good to see her here again, Scottish Championships. Wasn't sure, I haven't seen her all day today actually, she's maybe just here on medal presentation duty.
Yeah, but she recently stepped down as the chair trustee for the Edinburgh International, and she set that up 27 years ago, I believe now. So again,
goodness,
just shows how long she's been around in Scottish sport and in Scottish swimming. And there she is, presenting to the 100 freestyle medal winners.
And they great. There's a little bit of a confusion here. Olivia Newman-Baronius was first to the wall, but she wasn't faster in points in terms for Faye Rogers, who takes the gold medal. And inside that British record, great swim from Faye. We'll watch out for her when it comes to the World Championships. She's already qualified for the World Championships, as has Olivia Newman-Baronius as well. So these two we'll see in Singapore a little bit later on in the year. Now, 100 freestyle for the female. The freestyle making their way out again. Waiting on the swimmers here, Jack.
Yeah, again, likely some of the athletes will have had multiple events. They might be in the swim down pool, so they will be trying to push for everyone to be present, but we might see a few missing. But no, it looks like everyone's there.
Great great race that was, very, very close at the front of the field.
There's Kiera Sloshin getting her medal. It was nice to see her just squeezing in. Very close to actually getting the first place slot as well.
Yeah, Holly Widows finished very well indeed. Kiera Slossin is crowned the Scottish champion. And Zarakovic claiming that junior title. So if the winner of the Open title is not a Scot, we will crown a Scottish champion. And of course, we've got an Open champion as well. So presentations. There are trophies being awarded for this female. It's the Bailey Hugh McCulloch Trophy, I think, for the senior winner, and the past President's Trophy for the junior winner. As the men multi-classification. Warren Brennan taking that one. Rhea Rogers in second place, silver medal, and it was Louis Lawler. Ended up taking that gold medal position in that multi-class 100 freestyle. Louis Lawler, popular character. A little bit of cheers there. So well done to the medalists in that multi-class 100 freestyle. And presentations now for the 100 freestyle for men. Oh, we're not going on to the 50 backstroke quite yet. We've still got one more presentation to come. And that's for the men. Aaron Ilkers taking the bronze medal. For that men, Findlay Club will take silver. Under the 51 second mark, Jack. Alvin Chahal taking the gold medal. There we are. Caught up with him. Junior winner, I think that's Alfie Price, I think it might be, from Orkney. I wonder if he'll be swimming in the Island Games.
You'd imagine so. I think he would be.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the criteria is, but we were talking about that in the live stream this morning. We hope that Orkney will have a big presence at the home games.
Oh, they must do. Never been to Orkney myself, but very much on the bucket list. Kara's never been either. When she was saying she was looking forward to it.
She's never been?
She's never been.
Oh, she's in the Western Isles, I suppose. Other end of the country.
Aye.
There you go.
And now we move on to the B final of the female 50 metre backstroke. So we'll be up to the other end of the pool for the splash and dash. First use of the backstroke start blocks. So you'll see the ledge attached to the block and then a long bar that the athletes put their feet on. Maximise the purchase to get really a huge push off the wall. It's an introduction that's only been around not all that long, Paul, the backstroke ledge, probably the last 5-6 years, I'd say.
Yeah,
again,
maybe a bit longer than that,
bit long
not
now,
much
yeah.
longer.
Again, it was revolutionary at the time and made a huge difference.
Yeah,
You saw some
exactly.
enormous improvements in the times overall. So
there's the finalists for this B final: Katie Rose, Heidi Wren, Laura Ann Marshman, Anna Green, Amy Shales, Ruth Fowler, Emma Scobie, and Yasmin Hammerlane. Anna Green and Amy Shields in the two centre lanes, only separated by 3/100ths of a second here. They're all going to try and use as much as they can underwater. Great work underwater there from Amy Shields from Edinburgh University, but Emma Scobie was really quick there up in lane number 7 from Kirkintilloch, the oldest in this field at 28 years of age, but it is very close right across the pool. Well, pick a winner for this one. It might be lane number 5, Amy Shields. It is Amy Shields, 29.63. Laura Ann Marshman in second. And what a good swim that was for Amy Shields, 29.63. 3 swimmers dipping under 30-second mark.
yeah, Amy Shields just built all the way through there. Really, you could see the rate increase, and again, it's a great way to swim the race. And you saw, I think, Emma Scobie maybe a little bit quick, a little bit too soon, overrating potentially. So again, just goes to show there is still some pacing involved in the 50 events. You do think they are just an all-out attack, but you can definitely over-rev and tighten up, in particular towards the end. It's such a fine balance of keeping that rate high and efficient, but not over-revving, Paul, to the point where you seize up your muscles and then, you know, lose that speed towards the final 5 metres.
You're slipping through the water and not really getting the purchase there. Well, 29.63 for Amy Shields. That would have qualified her in second position for this A final. Wow.
Yeah, huge drop. It's really impressive.
Well, Caitlin Ebbage we saw going through in 1, Marie Wood, University of Aberdeen Performance in 2, Nellie Kinch, University of Stirling in 3, Scarlett Ferris from Perth City in 4. Eve Wood from Orkney, she goes in lane 5. Holly Widows back in the water again after that 100 freestyle success. She goes in 6. Millie Mainwaring from City of Glasgow in 7. And Jemima Hall from Bath University goes in lane number 8. Well, we saw a good start from Amy Shields in that previous heat, almost using whole 15 metres to that red marker. Wonder who is going to take this one. Scarlett Ferris had a very good heat swim, 29.46. Eve Wood, we know, is capable of going fast as well, and we know that Holly Widows is on good form in lane number 6, but it is lane 4. Another great start there from Scarlett Ferris. in lane number 4. She's looking away and clear at the minute. Eve Wood in lane number 5. Nelly Kinch also going well in 3, but I think it might be Scarlett Ferris here who just has the edge into the wall. It's going to be very tight as we expect, but it is Scarlett Ferris stretching for the wall at the end, and she will take it ahead of Millie Mainwaring, who swam really well up there in lane 7, and Holly Widows will be on the podium again.
Yeah, I mean, Millie came through so strong at the end. I think if she had an extra stroke, she would have touched out Scarlett. That was a really well-timed race. Again, just building through. It's great to see different styles of approaching the 50 poly. Again, you see the complete all-out attack and then those that really build through. But again, we'll see, I think, more of a splash and dash approach here with some of the men. Very high rates potentially here, particularly in the A final, looking to Scott Gibson, for example. Again, probably the favourite overall by a margin. You'll see very high rates, but again, different ways of swimming. You'll see the female athletes versus the male athletes, the approach to how they race it. Again, the female athletes a bit more longer style of stroke potentially, whereas the men, again, a much faster pace at times. But
we've got Tom Dean in the first in lane 1 here. Not that one.
Different Tom Dean. Making a representation in the 50
right.
backstroke. Not the Tom Dean Olympic champion.
No, not the Tom Dean.
Tokyo.
Another one from the Marlins. Harry Cook, Aberdeen Dolphin in 2, Lucas Brown in 3, Maxim Sharmila in 4, Logan van der Meulen in 5, Callum Peebles in 6, Hubert Gedanich in 7, and Harry Sharp in 8. Again, expect, as you said, Jack, to see some high turnovers here. Lots of splash we're expecting in this 50 backstroke.
Yeah, I mean, I think to Liam Tancock of old, who had just lost his world record recently, it was an absolute rate machine. So
yeah,
again, we'll see.
From the early 2000s, wasn't it? So it stood for a long, long time. But, well, what about this one? Lucas Brown over in lane number 3 got away really fast. Look at the arms going back here. Look at the centre lane here. Maxim Shramila trying to come through, but Lucas Brown could be the one who takes it. University of Stirling in 3 and 4. They're coming in together, and it is Lucas Brown. Wins it by 0.13 of a second from his teammate.
That might have been the highest rate I've ever seen, Paul. That was absolutely, I could barely keep up. That was unbelievable.
Higher than Craig McNally's.
Oh, I'd say so.
Final 50.
I think it would be, yeah. That was unbelievable from Lucas Brown there. My goodness, well, there we go. Lived up to the billing.
Fantastic, yeah. From Lucas Brown, he takes that B final. And what about this, the A final on its way? Well, Robert Burgess, Edinburgh University, one of 4 Edinburgh Uni swimmers in this one. There is Archie Evans from Bath University. Zach Speakman goes for University of Stirling in his Welsh kit. Scott Gibson, Scottish record holder. Great swim this morning in the heats, 25.37 for Scott Gibson. Jamie Ferguson, University of Aberdeen performance in 5. Andrew Boddy in 6 from Edinburgh Uni. Jamie Robertson, University of Stirling in 7. And Jordan McPhail from Edinburgh University in lane number 8.
I think Jamie and Zach can potentially challenge for that 25 barrier. But I think it's going to be Scott and the rest here, looking at his form from this morning. If he can replicate that 25.3 or better, then he'll be in a great position. I think he'll be really pleased with that heat performance, actually. He'll have his eyes set on the Commonwealth Games next year. I think, knowing that he made the final in Birmingham, he'll be wanting to improve on that position. I think he was 5th overall or 6th. He was just outside the medals. I think a little bit disappointed with his performance at the time, but again, he's definitely made improvements and more than capable of pushing on here. Again, when you go so quick in the morning, it can be hard to back it up, but I think, again, more than capable of at least replicating that performance, potentially shaving off a few tenths if he can tighten up on some of the skills. We'll see what he's got in the tank, but again, you'll see very high rate, maximising the walls from all these athletes.
Well, 24.83 is his Scottish record. He went 25.37, so half a second. Not too far away at all for Scott Gibson this morning. I wonder, as you said, if he can shave off a few tenths, he's not going to be far away from that Scottish record. If he can get under,
yeah, we'll see where he's at.
25 seconds, well, be great. Let's see what Scott Gibson can do in lane number 4. What can the others around him do? Zach Speakman in 3, Jamie Ferguson in 5. They will be probably the favourites, but Gibson again with that high turnover here, and he's getting purchase on the water, pulling him ahead of the others. Zach Speakman maybe in second position here, and Jamie Ferguson also going well in 5. But here comes Scott Gibson now. Let's watch the clock, and it's 25.42. Well, pretty consistent, Jack. 25.42, 5/100 shy of what he did this morning. Well, that's almost spot on. 2 great swims there, back to back in a day.
Yeah, I think he'll be pleased with that. Again, like I said, it's such a fine balance when you go so fast in the heats. It can be hard to replicate or go a little bit quicker in the 50s, so you do quite often see athletes getting quite close, particularly in the top end of the sport. They'll go very quick or close to their time in the heats quite often, but again, I think Scott will be very pleased with that overall. 2 solid performances, and I think we are potentially medals. I'm just trying to see here.
Yeah, I think so. It's 100 breaststrokes coming up, medals, as these swimmers exit the water. And it's Pam Thompson making these presentations. So again, wait for the swimmers, but yeah, I mean, Scott Gibson, again, Commonwealth Games, a big draw for a lot of these swimmers, isn't it? And of course on the Olympics, of course, introducing the 50 events as well. They've always had the 50 freestyle, well, they have for a number of years. And now 50 backstrokes, breaststroke, butterfly in, so that's kind of opened the door for lots of
certainly
people,
will.
isn't it?
I think it will extend the careers of quite a few athletes across the board because of that. You know, it would have been a big decision maker for a world championship cycle they might have finished up. You know, this year being a world championships, the Form 50s are at that event, but now with the likes of the Olympics having that opportunity as well, you will see a lot of the athletes extending that on, and I think it's a great opportunity. It's great to have it involved and allow that access to all the athletes across those sprint events.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you had the likes of Adam Peaty, didn't you, talking about the 50 breaststroke. That's going to be his focus for the next Olympic cycle. But there are 3 British Paralympians, and Bethany Firth back in the water again. Great to see her back after giving birth to a baby last August, missing the Paralympic Games, but I don't think she minded at all. Louise Fiddis, Paralympic champion, and she gets silver, but new British record for Iona Winifrith, the youngster, the 14 years of age swimmer. Well done, Iona Winifrith, taking that gold medal in terms of points. I wish you could bring you the points actually, but I know that Iona's big points total. Great swim from her in the SB7 classification. Swimmer of short stature.
Yeah, we'll definitely set to improve that for the next few finals, I think, to make sure the points are at hand so we can announce them. Particularly for Saturday and Sunday. Might not be able to do that for today.
Yeah, so it's all every day is a school day, we'll learn.
Yeah.
Here's a female, 100 metres of breaststroke. Hannah Bowley with the Edinburgh University clean sweep in this one. Hannah Morgan, another swimmer who's been on great form in the last year or so. What about this swim from the winner, Cara Hanlon? Well, what about that, Jack?
106.9, unbelievably quick. It was that final 25, she was so powerful, really pushed through. It went from a sort of 67 mid performance to a 66 that final 25.
Millie Searle taking the junior title from Geary, but I mean, Cara Hanlon just has her standing up there. She's the shortest of the 4.
Yeah, so height's never been her strength, but never held her back, clearly.
No, absolutely. 106.95. Wow.
Phenomenally quick. She'll be very pleased with that, I think, considering this isn't her focused meet. So great to see what she does at the Island Games.
Yeah, you should come up for a visit, Jack.
Why not?
Yeah, just get up there.
Yeah. Make it a little holiday. Go and commentate there.
Myself and Duncan are going up.
Oh.
There you go.
There you go.
Here's 100 breaststroke. The didn't recognise Ollie Carter there. That big beard. Bronze medal.
Bit of a goatee he's got going on there. It's kind of a Pablo Picasso kind of vibe he's got going on. Sort of the wacky hair and the goatee. Fair play.
Well done, Ollie Carter. It was a great swim actually under the 120 mark. Jack Milnes had a good day, taking the silver medal in the para event. And Harry Stewart, he was always going to be tough to beat. He was actually in the B final. He did swim in the para final, but he was a para swimmer swimming in the B final. So that was always going to be a tough ask for anyone to get ahead of Harry Stewart. And again, one of the new stars. He made his first Games Paralympic team last year in Paris. He's kind of taken over the mantle of Scott Quinn from right here in Edinburgh.
He has, yeah.
Scott was a great champion for many years, and Harry Stewart's taken up the mantle in that classification now.
And nice to know that Scott Quinn is passing on that baton. He's working on the Learn to Swim programme and working with Edinburgh Leisure, so again, great to see him passing on his knowledge and skills.
I was hoping he might make a little bit of an appearance this weekend. It would be nice to see him. In touch.
I'll drop him a message. I'm sure he'll turn up.
Joshua Mitchell taking the bronze medal again. Edinburgh University almost doing an entire clean sweep of the breaststroke medals here. Rafe Dobson just upsetting that one with a silver medal performance from University of Stirling. And there's Archie Goodburn, Scottish champion for him, and it was an impressive swim, wasn't it?
It was. He really came through strong, and as I said, I think he'll be pleased with where he's at in the season. Again, I'm not quite sure what his focus meet is, but it's likely towards the end of the summer. So again, a very solid performance. And our junior champion, apologies, we don't quite have that information to hand.
Yeah, Lachlan Small, I think it was.
Lachlan Small.
For this one. Standing up there with Archie Goodburn at the top of that podium. And the trophies as well. Pam Thompson presenting, I should say, the Ian Moore Trophy for the senior and the A.W. Joyce Trophy for the junior. There's a number of long-standing, kind of historic trophies being presented at this Scottish National Open. It goes back a long time, this event.
Well, it's lovely to see the legacy of those trophies still standing strong. I always enjoyed when I was fortunate to win a trophy or two in the past to see all the names of all those athletes from long ago. It was, again, it's a great tradition that's good to see kept going.
I'm sure there'll be some well-known names on those trophies.
Absolutely. I think back to Michael Jameson and Chris Gilchrist and all the like in the breaststroke.
Did you win a trophy for breaststroke?
Did I? Absolutely.
Just thinking.
Absolutely.
I'm just thinking, what trophy you've been looking at? Your breaststroke trophy?
Oh no, I was just meaning the 100 breaststroke that we just saw.
Oh, right, okay.
Not me personally. Well,
I get you.
I could do a decent 50 breaststroke. I was
you were an out-and-out sprinter. You know what?
Yeah. 50 short course breaststroke. I was pretty handy.
Well, that's the voice of Jack Thorpe, the British Masters newly crowned 50 metres freestyle champion.
Yeah.
I think you like the sound of that.
No, I could get used to it. Back to the action. The 200 metre butterfly B final for women.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one, this one. Very close in terms of qualification. Ellen Denny from Geary in the lane closest to us with that light blue cap. Ciara Pimble from Best, the Borders Elite Swim Team. Derwentside and Gateshead represented by Isabel Fox in lane 3. Gabriella Lessing from Ren 96 in lane 4. Ashley Drake, Warren de Bass in 5. Catherine Body goes for University of Aberdeen Performance in 6. Natasha McDonnell in 7, University of Stirling. And Madison Cool, University of Aberdeen Performance in the outside lane, lane number 8. But Ciara Pimble has gone out fast. She's the best swimmer, the Borders Elite Swim Team swimmer.
The best from the Borders, yeah. I mean, I think I've always had such admiration for racing the 200 metre butterfly. It's such a brutal event, and fair play to Ciara Pimble for going out with such intent here, because it's very high rate for what is a very second half driven event, so we'll see how she copes with this third into the 450. Again, the shoulders really start to burn, the lactic acid building so heavily, and above all else on other events, the fly, you can really start to see a breakdown in the stroke, and as soon as that happens, Paul, it can make a huge difference, and really that transition, you slow down heavily and it can just hit you like a wall. You speak about the wall and running. The wall and the 200 butterfly can really start to hit in the turn of the third 50 here, so we'll see.
Well,
Ciara Pimble looking a little bit tight. Is it a commentator's curse? I'm not sure.
well, she's doing okay. She's hanging on, but Ashley Drake is going to hit the front here, I think. And she has done that. And you just see the splits there, 39.58. She's pretty much of a muchness apart from Ashley Drake, who has just driven it on there, 37.4. But Pimble now beginning to come back slightly, and Ashley Drake is the one who is suffering here in the middle lane. Ashley Drake had 2 swims of the 100 freestyle this morning. She had a swim off to contend with as well. So she has had a busy day. And look at Ciara Pimble here. Well, we almost wrote her off on that final turn, but she's coming in. And is she going to take this one? This would be remarkable for Pimble. All on the touch. Oh. And it was Pimble.
Oh, wow.
What a race that was. 2:24.90. And Ashley Drake, 2:24.94. Pimble took an extra stroke there at the end, didn't she?
It's a little half stroke and somehow got away with it. That was a very strange way of... You almost saw her coming into that wall at the end there and thinking she'd not left enough, but then she was building through that 450. So, yeah, fair play. I think the pacing strategy seemed to work there, although I think the finish needs some work, but other than that...
That was fantastic. 2:24. Excellent time there for Ciara Pimble. What a swim from her. Kate Baxter leads the finalists for the A final out now. Bath University's Kate Baxter, Evie O'Halloran Hutchison, Derwentside and Gateshead. Coco Croxford will go in 3 for South Lanarkshire. There's Ciara Slosson. There is Faye Rogers. They are the centre lanes. Edinburgh and University of Aberdeen performance. Catherine Ellen Roberts from Swansea University in 6. Layla Witherspoon in 7 from Heart of Midlothian, and Abigail Crawford in lane number 8. Unusual, Jack, to see a para swimmer right in the middle of this one. Faye Rogers has been on record-breaking form in this 200 butterfly for the S10 classification, swimmer with a minimal impairment, and she's broken this 200 butterfly world record 3 times this year in 2025.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think it's going to be Ciara Slosson streaks ahead here looking at the time she did this morning. I hope the other athletes can challenge into the sub 220s potentially. There's a few 220s, 221s that might challenge into the 19s and 18s, but Ciara Slosson was a 211 this morning, so on paper here, potentially we're talking 15, 20 metres ahead, potentially on paper, so I think Ciara, all to play for. She was really close to her lifetime best actually, so it'd be great to see her push on into that sub 211. She was 211.07 this morning. Again, very quick. Potentially, we were speaking earlier, Paul, too quick, unnecessarily quick, but then it's good practice to, again, step up when you go to these international events. You need to swim fast in the morning. You need those centre lanes, you need that opportunity, so likely seeing Ciara practicing exactly that, those race tactics for the major international meets, and likely later on this summer there's a few competitions she'll have her eye on, so again we'll see what sort of form she has.
And she's been there or thereabouts. She's kind of been on the brink of the international teams, hasn't she, for a long time now, Ciara Slosson?
Yeah, I mean, it's a very competitive field. Women's butterfly, the 100 and 200, you've got, you know, some household names at this point in Scottish swim with Kiana McInnes and the like, and Laura Stevens. It's
world champion, though.
World champion, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's an absolutely stacked field, and so it's great to see Ciara having the opportunity here to really push herself and still being able to push herself despite not having those rivals around her. So we'll see where she's at in the first 100 split. 102.0. So it's looking, I think that's a slight improvement from her split this morning.
Well, Coco Croxford going well as we thought she might. The swimmer from South Lanarkshire going there in lane number 3. We'll keep an eye on the time for Faye Rogers. I wonder if she, the para swimmer, and get amongst the medals here and get a good time inside her own world record mark. But there's no catching Kira Slauson here. She's absolutely dominating this race. And you said about the quality of the swims there, 200 metres butterfly in Britain at the minute. We've become used to some very, very close contests in the 200 metres butterfly, and it's almost been spoilt by the quality of the field, but you can just see the quality of Kira Slauson compared to the other swimmers here. I mean, some of the big names not here, of course, that are on international duty. But Kira now, can she come back? Can she get close to that 2:10 mark? Very fast swim in the heats this morning. It'd be great if she can dip under that 2:10, Jack. It's very close indeed.
Oh, she's done it at 2:09.9. What a phenomenal swim that was. My goodness, I think she'll be absolutely delighted with that. That might be close to a personal best time, I think, actually.
I think it might be, and it is a personal best time, I can tell you, for Faye Rogers. That is inside her own world record time for Faye Rogers in the S10. 2:18.24 has shaved off a couple of tenths from her own world record time, so well done to Kira Slauson at the front, Cloco Croxford in second, and Faye Rogers, a para swimmer, getting in a senior medal in the open event. Well done,
Faye Rogers. That just shows the form she's on, but I'm delighted for Kira Slauson there. To my knowledge, she's never been a sub 2:10. I'm not quite sure. I would need to look at the entry times. Or maybe she has. She's been a 2:10.41
we had.
Yeah, I'm
I think
pretty
the
sure.
fastest time. That's certainly a season's best.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure if she has been sub 2:10. So that's a brilliant performance. Phenomenal. I mean, just goes to show that 2:11 was clearly, setting herself up for what was a big drop into the final. So
I did think she was going to, but she timed it perfectly, didn't she? She was always there or thereabouts. I thought, it's going to slip by, but no. Under that
really
2:10.
Strong there. Well, that was great to see.
2:9.90 is much better than 2:10.1, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. 2:10.1 would be annoying. Well, that's one of the highlights of the night so far, I think.
Yeah, a couple of fantastic swims there for these swimmers in that 200 metres butterfly. The men are on their way for this 200 metres butterfly B final. There you see them in lane number 1, Matthew Holland, the Wolverhampton swimmer. Back in again in lane number 1, James Body from Geary. In lane 2, Ben McLaughlin, University of Aberdeen Performance. In lane 3, Edward Mills, Highland. In 4, Aidan Anderson, University of Aberdeen Performance. In 5, Nikolai Cisnet, City of Glasgow, goes in 6. Ross Anderton in 7 from East Lothian. Callum Sinclair from Warrender right at the top there in lane number 8. Matthew Holland back in the water again, the 27-year-old closest to us. Set himself a tough programme.
He has indeed. Hard enough doing a 200 butterfly in its own right, let alone doubling it up with multiple events, so fair play to him, but it's a blistering start from, what's that, lane number 6?
Cisnet, I think, City of Glasgow, the youngster, the 15 years of age.
Yeah, great.
Nikolai Cisnet.
Great off the wall there, that was excellent underwaters. Again, we've seen different tactics so far, some higher rates, but again, looking in control, maximising the underwaters, it's efficient, good use of the underwaters, again minimising the amount of strokes you're taking, which is crucial in the war of attrition, which is the 200 butterfly, being efficient as possible. The war of attrition. Certainly is a war of attrition. For me, this is a marathon compared to what I used to do.
Did you ever do 200 fly?
Absolutely not.
No, really?
Maybe in training with fins on for a laugh. Again, the admiration of these athletes going through it, it's a hard thing. So
it wasn't an event for me in the Paralympics. We concentrated on Paralympic events. So I did it a couple of times in the local meets, and I always thought I'd be quite good at it, but I never quite got it right. No. Difficult. You need to practice it, definitely. It's a good opportunity for some of the youngsters as well to swim this long course, because even the difference between long course and short course 200 fly, it's immense, isn't it?
Oh, it is. I mean, again, just the difference, the lack of walls. The walls you can really rely on having that rest around the wall. You do get a bit more of a breather, and there's nowhere to hide in the long course pool in the 200 fly. But it's Nikolai's led from start to finish, and he's looking strong. Let's see what he's got left in the tank in this turn.
Matthew Holland, the oldest man in the field, 27 years of age, is going really well on the inside lane here. He was around about a similar time to Nikolai Sisnet in qualification, just half a second between them, but they're separated. It was so close in terms of qualifying times here that they're separated by the whole pool. They're coming back. Nikolai Sisnet now feeling the pace. Matthew Holland, everyone's coming back now. James Boddy coming back. Ross Anderton coming back in the outside lane. It might be Ross Anderton into the wall first. No, it's not. It's Edward Mills in the centre, who came from absolutely nowhere. 2:11.08 for Mills. Anderton getting in ahead of Sisnet there. And Sisnet, well, it was a brave swim from Sisnet, but he paid for it just at the end there.
Yeah, again, he went out so quickly, and again, we say, you know, if the rate's a bit too high, and again, it's that war of attrition, like we said. I mean, a 37 point at the end there, clearly a very painful swim, but he held it together, and, you know, fair play, young lad, he's still got lots to learn, so he'll take away some key lessons from that.
Well, fantastic swims there, fantastic race. Really, really close contest there at the front of the field. Just sneaking in at the end in the middle lane was Edward Mills from Highland, the 16-year-old. Wow. This is Gulen leading out the A finalists for this 200 butterfly male and open. Benjamin Beale from Derwentside and Gateshead. Scott Fleming, University of Stirling. Tom Bealey, who will probably start as the favourite for this one. He goes in lane 4. Andrew Bertoli in 5 from University of Stirling. Edinburgh Uni's Tom Robertson in 6. Peter Allen from University of Stirling in 7. And Fraser Tetlow for University of Aberdeen Performance goes in lane number 8. So Tom Bealey in that centre lane from University of Aberdeen Performance. Well, again, guy who's been around for quite a while, hasn't he, Tom Bealey? Got a late call-up to the Commonwealth Games last time.
Yeah, he did, and again, athletes here more than capable of challenging that sub 2 minutes, Paul. I think on paper, Tom Bealey's
yeah, he was the only one. Andrew Bertoli's entry time, 2 minutes point 1-2.
Yeah, and Tom Bealey a 1:57.
Yeah, 57.0.
57.0. So again, I think Tom, again on paper, on form depending, could challenge that 2:00 here to potentially break the barrier. We'll just have to wait and see what sort of form he's in. Again, likely he's held back a bit from the heats. No reason to push the boat out too much in a 200 butterfly heat. Still got that centre lane and got the job done this morning with some time to spare to Andrew Bertoli, which is his counterpart in a 2:04 in the next fastest lane. But we'll see what the athletes have left in our penultimate individual event.
Yeah, absolutely. We have, oh, I thought we were missing someone in lane 1, but we're not. So they're going just appearing there from the back. Tom Bealey, very much the favourite for this one. He will go in the centre lane. 26 years of age now. Tom Bealey, he actually the holder of the junior record, so that must have been, that wouldn't have been yesterday.
No, it won't have been, no. So it's
for a while.
Great to see him still holding on that form and experience and driving forward. He's had some good few years recently and he's put in some great performances. I think he's actually wearing the 2022 Birmingham suit, so that's nice to see. Carrying that forward, and it's a very close one between Tom and Andrew, a 26.6 and a 26.7 respectively. Again, staying in control. Tom Bailey a little bit of a higher rate actually. You see the comparison there between Tom and Andrew. Very different approaches. Tom's really sort of rating through this second 50, putting his mark down. I think he's sort of gained about a metre or so on Andrew, which again you would expect looking at their entry times, and again you would expect looking at their heat performances. But you know, Andrew's hanging in there. It's on his shoulder still, so he's still put himself in a good position to challenge Tom here into the third 50.
Yeah, he's just on the shoulder now, but Tom Bealey looking like he has this one under control. It's a good contest for the bronze medal position. Right across the pool, 4 swimmers all in a row here, but the top 2 are away and clear, and this is going to be a head-to-head battle as they go in the final turn.
Yeah, well indeed. I mean, I think Andrew's doing a great job of holding on here, and Tom's not got it all his way. It's approximately just over a second between them there. It was a good turn from both. No difference really, but Tom's really holding on strong here. So I think Andrew's, it's looking like a convincing 1-2 at the moment for Tom and Andrew. Let's see how close they can get to that 2-minute barrier. It was a 2:02 this morning. See how close he can get to going sub. I think they'll be well under by the looks of it.
Yeah, into the last 5 now. They might both be under that 2-minute mark. Well, Tom Bailey will be, and Andrew Bertoli just slipping by in 2:01.09. Who is going to come in for the bronze? It will be Scott Fleming, just ahead of Tom Robertson. Good finish there for Scott Fleming. It was all about that last 50, wasn't it? Scott Fleming 33.6 against 34 for Tom Robertson. But Tom Bailey, well, he just had that slender lead all the way through, wasn't it? And Andrew Bertoli not really capable of breaching that gap. But under the 2-minute mark, he'd be pleased with that performance.
No, I think he will. It was a good drop, good consistent performance, and again, he's not all too far away from his 1:57 personal best. So, yeah, solid times overall, convincing win. Now we move on to, I think, a set of presentations before the final lot of racing.
Yeah, 50 backstrokes coming up now. Presentations made by Derek McGowan again. The second presentation duty of the night. He'll be back again for more presentations later on, making him work.
Keeping him on his toes.
So here come the swimmers. And Derek as well, making their way out to the podium. Holly Widow's on the podium again. Taking a bronze medal this time, the Mount Kelly swimmer. Also Main Bearing taking that silver medal for City of Glasgow. And a cracking swim at the front of the field there for Scarlett Ferris. She becomes the Scottish champion. Gail McNerney taking the bronze medal. The Scottish junior title, the Inverclyde swimmer. So well done to the medalist. Again, as we said, there will be an extra medal presented if the winner of the gold medal is a non-Scot. So there'll be an open medal and also a Scottish Championship medal, but Scarlett Ferris taking both titles. So 50 backstroke for male. Again, the cracking swim here from Scott Gibson and Jamie Ferguson as well. Two great swims there, wasn't it, Jack?
Yeah, both under the 26. Great to see. Like we said, Scott just didn't quite improve on his time this morning, but I think he'll be pleased overall. Getting under the 26 convincingly and challenging that 25 barrier as well in the process. Again, thinking about the tapered meets later in the summer.
Bit of confusion about the positions here.
I think that is Zach Speakman receiving the third place.
Jamie Ferguson, I think. Maybe Zach Speakman not there actually. So that's probably what's happened. Not turned up for the medal presentation. It should have been Zach Speakman, but there's a champion, Scott Gibson. Harry Cook from Aberdeen Dolphin is the winner of the Scottish Junior title. So no Zach Speakman, but we have the other medalists on that Commonwealth Games podium. Still standing up well, that isn't it?
Yeah,
Commonwealth
solid bit of wood that. Wonder where they store it.
I wonder if they'll use them again in Toll Cross. They must have that podium in Toll Cross as well.
That would be a nice legacy, wouldn't it? A nice nod to the old games.
And here we go, 1500 metres freestyle.
Longest event in the pool.
Yes, indeed. This is the fastest heat we saw swimmers swim in the heats this afternoon, but this is the fastest one. So we expect some fast times here. The medalists could come from the swims this afternoon, but probably unlikely. So these are the fastest entry times. Ava Smith leading them out from Geary. India Marshall, University of Aberdeen Performance. Lucy Hunter from South Lanarkshire. Amber Hinton, 15-year-old with the fastest entry time. Emily Riach from University of Aberdeen Performance. And 3 from City of Glasgow completes the lineup. Caris Mooney, Ava Ross and Alice Cumming. It's a bit of a club challenge there in the outside lane. It's going to be an interesting one.
Yeah, it is. 3 Glasgow swimmers in a row there. All 3 ladies from training in Tollcross more than likely, multiple times a week. So yeah, it'll be interesting. They'll know each other's training approach. They'll probably know each other's tactics as well. So it's going to be interesting to see how they approach it and break it down. But again, looking at the centre lanes as well, Amber Hinton from Dumfries, second youngest in the field, 17:31, and the Ava Smith from Geary, 14-year-old. Again, great experience. Get yourself in the final.
Well, Amber Hinton in the middle has an advantage in terms of entry times of 18 seconds, so we'll see if that pans out in the pool. 17:31 is the entry time for Amber Hinton, and the field entry times goes down to Alice Cumming in the outside lane, 18:17. So I'll keep an eye on these times, on these positions as we go through this 1500 metres freestyle. See the lane markers there, 29 lengths to go. We saw some of the swimmers in the later stages in the heats this afternoon, Jack. Just sneak a look at those lane markers as they were coming in.
Well, I can attest that back in the day when I did swim 1500s as a junior, I absolutely relied on those markers. I relied on both the cards and the final bell because it is remarkably easy to lose track.
Did you never count at all? Did you have tactics to
you do.
kind of go at certain times?
I mean, when I was younger, well, as I say, a junior, sort of 13 through to 15, when this was my main event, you know, you don't quite have the experience and the awareness, and you might lose count a little bit. You know, I'm not saying all the time, but I will put my hand up and say it did happen. But fortunately, the scorecards are there for a reason. But generally, there's a few approaches you can break down the 1500. It's traditionally 3 500s, of course. You know, break it down into thirds, or you can break it down into 3 400s, which would make a 1200, and then a final 300 at the end. So there's different ways you can approach it, and you can kind of go through the phases of your race. The most important thing with the 1500 in particular is not to use your legs too much near the beginning. It's much more for a balance perspective. We've seen a lot of the sprint events. We talked about the 50 backstroke, for example, the hugely high rate, high tempo, explosive events. You look at the centre lanes here, you look at the athletes across the board, the legs are more for stability, keeps them going, supports a nice long loping stroke. You think about being as efficient as possible. I mean, if you think about the number of turns in a 1500, even saving 0.3, 0.2 around the wall, that adds up to many seconds across the piece. So again, with that efficiency in mind, it's the same for reserving energy. So again, if you're thinking about building through the 1500 and breaking it down in those phases, it means you can start to rely on the legs a bit more towards the end and go to them when you really need them. In these opening 100 metres, it's all about just relaxing into the pace and just really, again, maximising that distance per stroke. We always talk about distance per stroke in swimming, particularly freestyle, getting a good feel of the waterfall, really understanding, you know, where your hand position is, being really efficient with the breath. And it's looking like a great job from Amber so far, doing exactly that.
What kind of breathing technique did you use? I mean, I suppose you were a sprinter. You didn't have any breathing technique on the 50 at all.
Not on the 50. The 50 you would hold your breath, that hypoxic element.
Yeah, we saw some of the swimmers doing the 1500 yesterday, kind of employing different breathing techniques. There was one of the swimmers who won one of the heats. She was breathing to both sides, but she had 2 breaths to one side, head down for a couple of strokes, 2 breaths to the other side, head down, back again. That is an interesting breathing pattern.
That is indeed. I mean, I think to Stephen Milne, again, a titan of the freestyle events, particularly distance across the years. I mean, again, representing GB at the Olympics and Commonwealth Games, champion across many events. He was a bilateral breather, so every 3. All the way through his career, he would breathe every 3. More traditionally, as you can see from Amber here, breathing every 2. Again, thinking about maximising the oxygen, the efficiency. You think about the shorter events, you might be more often breathing every 2 or every 4. Particularly in the sprint events, you'll likely hold your breath for a bit longer. Particularly 50, you won't breathe at all because you're thinking about how to minimise drag. Because essentially every time you take a breath, your body position is going out of line and you're losing the efficiency of the stroke. But of course you need the oxygen to be going to the muscles, so it's finding that balance. So it's really being as efficient as possible around your breath. And this is where we talk about really the accumulative effect across a distance event. Again, if you think about how efficient your breathing can be, the number of breaths you take in a 1500, you will be taking hundreds of breaths. So if you're going to be as efficient as possible around that, this is where you can really save and add a lot of time respectively.
Just to keep that stroke flat, efficient, streamlined.
That's exactly it. I mean, swimming is a high resistance sport, approximately 7 times more resistant than air. So of course, the more efficient you can be and as streamlined as possible through the water, rather than fighting against the water, you're flowing with it. Range, rhythm, relaxation, very much the 3 core R's in particular for distance freestyle. For swimming across the board, but in particular the longer events where it really does matter. And again, you can look at the different techniques across the water, across the pool here. Again, the majority of the athletes are breathing every 2. There's a couple every 4 by the looks of it. Some breathing to the left, that might be their stronger side. Some breathing to the right, which again, looking at the race that's hotting up in the top half of the pool there, tactically can come into the play in the final 50. If you're breathing towards your competitor in the final 50, you might be able to see them. Whereas if you're breathing away, they might be sneaking up on you. And again, these are all the things that the athletes will be aware of, and they'll be conscious of it as they progress through the race. But it's looking all Amber's way so far.
Yes. That's the 1/3 stage there, 500 metres. 5:46.03. So she's going around about 1:10-ish, 1:10 and a half or so. So pretty good pace for Amber Hinton. And again, we will get splits on the screen, but the splits disappear after 10 seconds. So if Amber Hinton is more than 10 seconds ahead of any of the other swimmers in the field, we're not going to get these splits. We'll get her split, but it will only stay there for 10 seconds. So if the other swimmer is not in within 10 seconds, we're not going to see anything there. So you see Amber Hinton and Lucy Hunter in second place, clear in second place, but the others are more than 10 seconds behind Amber Hinton. So we are not getting anything but a real good contest here at the top. Emily Rhea going well in lane number 5, and also Alice Cumming as well in lane number 8. And between them, Caris Mooney and Ava Ross. So that's the 3 Glasgow swimmers actually we spoke about earlier on with those 3 blue hats. They're right in the mix for the 3rd position.
Yeah, they're virtually in a line, and I can actually see some of the splits on the scoreboard coming through, and they're all approximately those sort of 36.8, 36.7, 36.5 respectively for those 3 Glasgow athletes. So very close splitting, and as they turn again, it's 36.4, 36.4, 36.2 for Emily, Carrie and Ava respectively. So again, unsurprisingly, the 3 athletes that train together are all splitting very similar together. But again, it will come down to who's got the sprint in the end, because right now they're in a line, and again they're in contest for that 3rd place slot. So it's potentially going the way of lane 5, which is Emily Rhea, but they're all 3 of those Glasgow athletes are still well in shot of that 3rd place spot. So still all to play for as we progress closer to the halfway point.
Yeah, and also Eva Smith and India Marshall having a good head-to-head, closest to us, on the lanes close to us.
Absolutely.
We'll see them go through as we see Amber Hinton come back up the other way, as well as Lucy Hunter as well. So these 2 look like they've got this one in the bag in the early stages, that's for sure. 35.41. Let's just check Lucy's time. Yeah, 35.94. So not increasing that much, but it is increasing by a couple of tenths or so. And as you said, Jack, if you add up all those couple of tenths over that 1500 freestyle, it's quite a margin, isn't it?
It does indeed. And Amber's been consistently splitting on those 35s, so she's again pulling away with each 50 now. But it's looking like girls down in, or up I should say, in lanes 8, 7 and 6 are closing slightly on Emily. So there was a few tenths quicker there, 36 threes compared to Emily's 36.8. So again, contest hotting up a little bit for third place.
None of these City of Glasgow swimmers are going to give an inch, are they? They're going to want that bragging rights for the club championships.
They can't be turning up on Monday morning having given up and not left everything in the pool.
Amber Hinton, 35.56 for that 50, 9:18.05 for Amber Hinton. So the pace, fairly consistent, maybe just dropping by a very slight amount, but Amber Hinton into the second half now. That's the 800 mark, so we passed the halfway point for Amber Hinton, and well, this is a nice performance here from Amber Hinton. She was the favourite for this one, but again, you've got to come in and deliver in the final. She looks a swimmer in very good shape, Amber Hinton, and only 15 years of age as well. We haven't had great distance swimmers. Well, we have had a number of distance swimmers over the past when people made in Commonwealth Games finals, etc. Hannah Miley hold a lot of the distance Scottish records as well.
Yeah, she does. I mean, I think back to like sort of Camilla Hattersley, for example. Probably the last one of the last sort of focused distance athletes, but that was a good sort of 8 years ago now. I mean, she
Camilla made the Olympic team, did she?
2016, I believe, yeah, and then I think retired not long after. So again, since then, there's been a bit of a gap in the market, so to speak, around the distance. I mean, on the male side, you have Stephen Millen and the like. There's always been a presence, but again, on both male and female, there's kind of that opportunity, I think, within the distance events, but it's just not as focused anymore. I think it's gone a lot more towards the sprint events. That's the interest with the athletes, and the likes of the International Swimming League, the ISL when it was on, as well as some of the focus now with the 50s being back in the Olympics. It's clearly catalysing that focus on the sprint events rather than the distance. So,
but of course you do have the 800s as well, which has recently been introduced to the Olympic programme, isn't it? And
yeah,
Dan Whiffen, of course, is the Irish swimmer, benefited from the introduction of that 800, taking that Olympic gold. Regular visitor here, Dan Whiffen, isn't he?
He is. The Edinburgh International, which is usually around March, he's a regular and put in a
short course,
great performance then.
Christmas time short course. He's a regular attender in that one, the Olympic champion in 800 freestyle. But yeah, he's an absolute talent, Dan Whiffen. But yeah, I mean, opportunities as well, 800 and 1500, because previously it was only 800 for the women, 1500 for the men, but now both 2 chances in distance events.
Yeah, it's the most opportunity athletes have ever had for medals in any international event, so particularly when you include the mixed relays, which one we'll see after this. I think there's some presentations before, but we have the mixed medley, and again, it shows the evolution of the sport. We're not standing still. We're not saying this is what we've always done, so this is what we'll always do. It's very much recognising that there needs to be change, and we're keeping up with the evolution of the competitive environment. And I think swimming's always been at the forefront of that. One of the first sports to actually introduce mixed relay events, men and women racing together in the same pool. You can win an Olympic medal, and that as a novelty potentially in some sports, but it's really stood the test of time over the last few cycles now in swimming, and other sports are following suit. We're seeing it in different events, so again, it's great to see.
I think athletics as well, they had in the Olympics last year, they had the mixed relay as well, but I'm sure I heard that some teams in the athletics say, it's only the mixed relay, we're not focusing on that. But you think, it's an Olympic gold medal. Why would you not?
So
Why would you not do it?
there are two sides of the coin. So of course it's great to see 1500 introduced 800, but when you think of the likes of Michael Phelps, who set that record of 8 gold medals in 1 games, you could argue that if he'd had that opportunity of mixed events and other events, you could have added to that tally. So you can see both sides. People are saying, well, you know, you're decreasing the quality of certain events, particularly the relays, when you're saying it's, you know, men versus women and different strokes. How is that fair? Because there's a balance to it. You might see legs here later on after this where you've got, you know, a man and a woman in the same race or the same stroke, but in vastly different in times. But that's just the tactics of how the team is set. It's 2 men and 2 women, but again, I think it's progressive. It's a good way to make it more interesting.
Do you ever see a time where there are no single-sex relays in the Olympics and it's all mixed? Because that's the way the Paralympics have gone. It's all mixed relays in the Paralympics now.
I can't ever see that happening because of the long-standing records and traditions and the history that have been in place. I mean, some of the most exciting races in swimming history have come from relays.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You know, you think
everybody loves a relay, don't
you
they?
think back to the men's 4x1 medley and 4x100 freestyle from Beijing in 2008, some of the most iconic races and splits to this day. And I just think you can't lose that. And the same with the women, that the Australian women putting in some unbelievable performances in the 4x100 at Commonwealth Games. And you
remember
can't
the South Africans winning the Olympics back in Athens, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Ian Thorpe taking over beating the Americans in the
right enough.
Australian team. Yeah, fantastic history for these relays, and the race is beginning to hot up for 3rd place here, because Amber Hinton has got this one sewn up right at the front of the field. Yeah,
I think the 1st and 2nd is said and done at this point. I think it'd be great to see if they can challenge their times as much as possible, but it is very much that 3rd place and 4th place slot where the action will happen, I think, moving towards the end as we progress into the final 300, I think, or 200 of the...
Yeah, there's the fight for 3rd position between lanes number 5 and 6, Emily Riak, who has had a little bit of an advantage. She's been caught back now by Caris Mooney. Alice Cumming in the far lane as well, and Eva Ross, City of Glasgow swimmers in that far side. But Amber Hinton, it's a great head-on shot, isn't it? You just see the technique, even at this late stage in the race.
Great efficiency around the wall. I think to Stephen Milne, he was an absolute executionist around the walls. You would see him being so explosive, so quick on every single turn of a 1500, and it would just pay dividends to him towards the end of the race. The amount of time you would save being so quick and efficient around the wall. And it's great to see Amber doing exactly that. You saw the rotation speed there. She really exploded around. And as you say, likely very tired at this stage. She's been pushing a long time now, and you know the legs are likely heavy, shoulders heavy, but still great speed around that wall. And you can see her going to her legs now. We spoke at the beginning about keeping the energy in the legs as much as possible, but you can see the splash there, you can see the rate, and that will only increase as we move towards the final 50. Probably sitting at a 4-beat kick. So 4 kicks per stroke cycle, and I think as she moves into the final 50 we'll see that really progress into a 6 or an 8-beat kick, and that's exactly what will be happening with 3rd and 4th place, and it's really hotting up for that bronze medal position, Paul, as we look into the pool now, just out of camera shot. Yeah, they're taking the bell now, the 3rd and 4th place and 5th place actually, 3 swimmers all in contention. We'll see them coming up as we see Amber Hinton coming down towards the finish. And the 2nd place swimmer is Lucy Hunter. She's safe. Here's the 3 that are battling for the bronze medal position going up towards their final turn. But here comes Amber Hinton now. She has an entry time of 17:31. Is she going to get inside that? You know what? It's going to be really close. Might just slip by. 17:31.24. And that is an improvement. 4 100ths of a second. No, it's marginal gains, Paul.
Fantastic.
But back to the action. It's looking really hot contest for that 3rd and 4th. I think it's going to be Emily Riak just at the moment. She's streaking ahead slightly now. Really going to her legs. So as we come in for 2nd place.
Lucy Hunter was 2nd. She's been clear in 2nd all the way through under the 18-minute mark. And it is going to be Emily Riak, I think, in lane number 5. Let's have a look at the split for Emily on that final 50, 33.01. And that's what made the difference. The two City of Glasgow swimmers separated by 0.25 of a second, 34 point, but Emily Riach, fastest in the pool there to win that bronze medal. It's a nice finish, wasn't it? 18.06 for Emily. Yeah, a little bit outside her entry time. She won't mind. She will be the bronze medalist behind Lucy Hunter and behind the swimmer who dominated that one, Amber Hinton, improving her entry time by 4/100ths of a second, swimming 17.5 minutes and improved it by 4/100ths.
I mean, again, you take what you can get, Paul. It's an improvement.
Exactly.
You can't argue with it.
Take it.
You can't argue with it, but it is a little bit frustrating. 400ths and a 1500.
Well, it's an improvement, as you said.
And now we move on to
1500s with dead heats before.
Oh yeah, no, I mean,
a couple of them. Some cracking races.
The likelihood of that happening must be pretty low.
Yeah.
So now we have the penultimate presentation, presented by Jeremy Chittleborough, and that will be for the female 200 butterfly, the male and open 200 butterfly, before the last race of the evening, which will be the mixed medley relay, which I think will be a great one to finish on. Yeah, the
presentation of this 200 butterfly for male and open and female. Female presentation are going to be first. Jeremy Chittleborough making those presentations. I wonder if I'm going to see Faye Rogers there. We're just looking at our screen. Not sure why we wouldn't. Oh, there she is. Faye Rogers is there. Looking at the screen, it didn't have Faye Rogers listed there, but she's there right at the bottom of the para swimmer. And there's the 200 butterflyers.
Yeah, an excellent world record performance there from Faye Rogers, a Paralympian.
Bronze medal for her, and inside her own world record time. Well, I think that's the 4th time she's broken that 200 fly record this year. What a swimmer Faye Rogers is. Coco Croxford, a silver medal position for her. And a decent swim from her, 2:17. But what about this swim? At the front of the field, 2:09.90 for Kira Thorson.
Yeah, it's a world-class time. Anything under 2:10 is right up there with the best. She'll be, I think, very pleased with that. 2:09.9.
Junior medal winner. Is it Abigail Crawford? City of Glasgow. Abigail Crawford made that A final, finishing in 7th place there. She was the only junior in that A final. So she'd already secured the junior titles on. She completes the distance in that A final.
And not get DQ'd.
And will get DQ'd.
We've only seen one DQ so far tonight, I think, and that was in the... is that the
400 IM, wasn't it?
200
yeah.
IM, I think.
There was a few during the day today.
Yeah, it'd be good to see not too many.
Yeah.
It's always a bit of a stinger when you finish a hard race and see a DQ next to your name.
You ever quick off the blocks, Jack? Did they ever catch you at the start?
Oh, unfortunately, in a few relays, I was a wee bit excitable around the changeover, I must admit.
A wee bit excitable on the relays.
A little bit excitable.
That's good. That's good.
I would say it's a moment of passion where I'm just too keen to get going.
I did chance my arm once in a relay at Grangemouth and I didn't get away with it. We were well behind though, so it wasn't too bad.
And now we have
Scott Fleming. Then we'll claim the bronze medal for University of Stirling. Andrew Bertoli will claim the silver medal. It's a good race from Andrew. Challenged the winner for long periods in that race, but Tom Bailey took the gold medal. I don't know how many titles that Tom Bailey has got in these Scottish Championships. Been around for a long time. 200 fly, definitely his area. And Benjamin Beale. might have been, well, we're not sure. I think it might have been Edward Mills possibly for the Scottish junior. I think it was Benjamin Beale from the Derwent side and Gateshead, but not a Scot, I don't think. So probably Edward Mills will be the winner of that one.
And now we move on to the final event of the evening, which is the mixed medley relay. So that will be the backstroke, breaststroke, butterfly and freestyle.
And we saw quite interesting in this mixed medley relay because some of the teams obviously put the female swimmers out first. Some of the teams put the male swimmers out first. A couple of the teams went with the males on the first two legs, so they had big leads in the heats this morning.
Yeah, yeah.
But then got kind of pegged back when the female swimmers came in a little bit later. So this is the fastest heat, of course. We haven't seen these teams before. So we have heat declared winners. We had heats this morning at the end of this morning's session. And this is the first time we've seen this team. But yeah, a couple of strong teams. You've got to think Edinburgh University are going to be the ones to beat, I think.
I would say so. They look like a strong team we've got in the water. So we've got Scott Gibson leading them off, followed by Cara Hanlon, who had a great performance in that breaststroke that we saw earlier, in a 66.9, 106.9. And then we have Brodie Gordon Gibson on the butterfly and Drew McKenzie on the 100 freestyle. So again, they're closing with a female on the 100 freestyle leg. So it's always an interesting balance where you put the athletes on different legs. Majority of the time you want to have female athletes on the slower legs, and that is because you can lose or gain the most. So if you have a male breaststroker versus a female breaststroker, on paper there can be huge differences in times quite often. So more than often than not you will see the freestyle and butterfly as the male legs. But again, there's no right or wrong, it depends on the strength of the team. So in this case you can see Scott Gibson will be leading things off, as backstroke is very much one of the strengths at Edinburgh at the moment. Scott had a good performance in that 50 backstroke. So again, there's a balance so far of, I think, 4. Oh, we're missing one team in lane 3. That is University of Aberdeen, choosing not to contest.
Well, it's a shame. They would have been contenders certainly for the medals, you would think. Well, as you can see, 2, 3 female swimmers, I think 4 possibly. 4 female swimmers right across the board. Lisa McNair leads off for Stirling Swim, Heidi Wren for City of Glasgow. Edinburgh University with Scott Gibson. Look to him, I would imagine, to head them through on this first 100. Melissa Mainwaring from City of Glasgow in 5. Sophie McMahon in 6 from University of Aberdeen Performance B team. Kyle Harper, South Ayrshire in 7. And Jamie Waller in lane number 8 for Heart of Midlothian. And again, Heart of Midlothian, the Hearts team, gone out with the 2 males. So he'll hand over to a male swimmer, so they might be in contention here. But of course, Edinburgh University have got Cara Hanlon on this second leg, and well, you know, if you've got a breaststroker with the calibre of Cara Hanlon, you're going to use her, aren't you?
Absolutely, great takeover there from Cara, judged it well. Both feet in the back block, that race pace takeover style, utilising the momentum as you throw yourself forward and really capitalising the explosive element and leaving the block. She's looking really strong in this first 50. I think we saw her split a 31 low in her individual. Let's see what she can do when she has the added benefit of her takeover starts. Of course, the takeover starts or changeover being much quicker than a traditional take your marks. So see how that pays off here. It's a 31.3, so I think that's about 3/10 or approximate. I think it's actually quite close to what she did individually, but see how she fares compared to her 66.9 individual. Again, on paper you look for about a 0.5, 0.6 improvement if you include that takeover, so see if she can challenge a 66 mid here, Paul.
Yeah, well, let's see what she can do. Cara Hanlon, fantastic technician. She's just so efficient on this breaststroke. She's beginning to tie up a little in the closing stages, but well, 36.01. That's about a 67 split, 67-3, 67-4 or thereabouts, and she has handed over to Brodie Gordon-Gibson, who's away and clear of the others, being chased now by Ciara Morris, I think for City of Glasgow in lane number 5, and being chased down for City of Glasgow B team, Aidan Kay in lane number 2. That's an interesting one. A little bit of a tussle between the two City of Glasgow teams, and the B team are ahead of the A team.
Well, that's what you like to see. Each of the teams challenging each other, getting inside that club rivalry. So again, all to play for. Put themselves in a great position there, City of Glasgow. Really flying through. Let's see what they've got in the final leg. It's looking like female athletes, so it's a male Glasgow versus a female from Glasgow, so that'll be an interesting one in the final leg.
Well, two Glasgow teams look like they might fight it out for the silver medal position here, but Drew McKenzie is away on that final leg from Edinburgh University. Well, fantastic swimming there from Drew McKenzie. She had a good 100 freestyle, ended up on the wrong end of a blanket finish in 4th position, Drew McKenzie, but it looks like she might be on top of the medal podium here today. City of Glasgow, the B team with Louise Connell in lane number 2, just going to be overtaken by Rory McKinnon in the middle lane, lane number 5. But here comes Drew McKenzie now, and she is going to be home. The Edinburgh University team, clear winners as we thought they might be. Drew McKenzie into the wall. We'll just check the time for that one. 3:54.58, and well, that might even be inside the mixed medley relay Scottish record, Jack.
Well, fair play. That was some performance, some strong legs across the board there. Wait for any confirmation.
Well, City of Glasgow did fight it out. It was lane 5. The A team got the better of the B team in the end, but only by 3 seconds. But what about that swim from Edinburgh University? 3:54, and that has set a new Scottish record. Edinburgh Uni.
Well, great way to end the first day of racing, Paul. It was a great end. Always great to see a mixed medley relay, see things mixed up a bit, leave ourselves guessing in the end there for the City of Glasgow teams. That was a nice finish all round, but again, convincing win there for Edinburgh. Again, thinking about the calibre of the athletes they have at the moment, again, it's expected, and I think University of Stirling, if they had their A team here, you know, a lot of their athletes are racing in Setacolli at the moment, so if they had their team here, I'm sure they would have challenged. Well, it's a great performance. Highlights for you, Paul? Anything stand out?
Well, I think that 200 fly was a standout, wasn't it, for Ciara Slauson? Fantastic time. And also Faye Rogers with that world para record time beaten. And the breaststroke as well. Cara Hanlon, phenomenal time, wasn't it?
Yeah, I would absolutely second that. Those were definitely the highlights for me as well. Some great performances. It's great to see them both dip under those big barriers as well. It's sort of 210, the 200 butterfly for women, and a 107 in the 100 breaststroke, and they're both under the barrier. Again, it just sounds so much better, doesn't it? 209 or a 210, a 106 or a 107. It's those margins in swimming. It can be so painful when you're on the wrong side of that barrier. So
I remember many years ago when I was trying to break the minute for 100 freestyle. I did 1:00.01 1 month, and the next month it was 59.97, which is only 4 100s, but it was so much better.
Oh,
so much better.
All the difference.
These were in the days of the old cards, the blue and the pink cards. You remember them, Jack? You old enough? Oh, you're shaking your head now.
I don't. Apologies, just outed you there.
Oh, dear. Yeah, they were the days.
Yeah.
Back in the old days. Presentation still to come. Stick with us for the final presentation action. And there we have the 1500 metres freestyle. We'll have the medalists for the relay teams as well, getting themselves organised. Derek McGowan back in again for these 1500 metres freestyle. And it was a good contest for Emily Rea to take bronze. Lucy Hunter was always in the silver medal position, and it was Amber Hinton who absolutely dominated from the front of the field. The Dumfries swimmer, still only 15 years of age, Amber Hinton, and that was an incredible performance. And we think shaved off 4 100ths from her entry time of 17:31, so might well be getting into personal best territory.
Yeah, and she's won the Open and the junior title. That doesn't happen very often, does it? Definitely the first of this competition, and maybe the only. I mean, I can't think of another event where that would be the case. Potentially the 50 butterfly with Dean Fern, but I think he might now be a senior. So yeah, very impressive, winning the junior and the Open title. Plenty to see for the future there from Amber.
And it was juniors first and second in that one. Lucy Hunter, also a junior, still 16 years of age. So the youngsters certainly building up. And here comes the relay teams. City of Glasgow, well represented in this one. I thought the B team were going to do it for a second.
I know, so did I. Would have been a great upset, but again, it was just the way they chose to swim the events, which what makes, as we've said already, it's what makes the medley events so exciting.
But you've got to play to your strengths, as we said, with Cara Hanlon on that breaststroke. You've got to have Cara in your team.
Oh, of course.
And you've got to have Kira in your team as well. Wilson. If you B team from City of Glasgow, Heidi Wren, Matthew Garrity, Aidan Kay and Louise Connell. It's all about combinations, these relays. The A team from City of Glasgow, Melissa Mainwaring, Roger Skringelis, Kira Morris and Rory McKinnon. And final presentation. That's inside the Scottish record time. It's a standard, actually, standard time, which has never been beaten, of 3:55. But that team from Edinburgh University, they went 3:54. Fantastic performances, and they've all had some good swims tonight. Scott Gibson, Cara Hanlon, Brodie Gordon-Gibson, and Drew McKenzie. They are the winners. Edinburgh University take the Scottish title, they take the Scottish record, they establish that Scottish record.
Well, they've laid the gauntlet down. I think Stirling have their way, they'll definitely be able to challenge that. So, again, good to see.
Stirling Swimming have claimed the junior title. And they will collect their junior medals from Derek McGowan, who's had a busy night of medal presentations.
He has kept himself busy. Congratulations to all the athletes there. Great way to end the first night of racing here at the Scottish National Open Championships.
Yeah, fantastic night of action. It's been quick fire, Jack, hasn't it?
It has. We've been kept busy, but I think we've done okay. I'll say that much.
Yeah, well, I hope we've kept everybody informed on the live stream. That is the first night of finals. The next session is a heat session. It begins at 8:55 local time here in Edinburgh tomorrow morning. If you are catching us on the BBC iPlayer, we will be back again tomorrow evening at the same time as we were today, so 16:55 tomorrow evening. But for now, from myself, Paul Noble, and from Jack Thorpe, it is bye from Edinburgh for day one, and we will hopefully see you again for day two action tomorrow. Bye for now.